Hi, and welcome to Thursday with a Friend. My name is Lawrence, or many other words that people will call me. And today, my special guest, Gazz. It seems like it's just like it comes and goes. Gazz.
Yeah, it's pretty simple.
How are you doing? And thank you for joining me today.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm doing pretty well. It's a little chilly here.
Where are you now? Where are you at? I'm
Oh, Boston area.
Boston.
Mm, you'll
Well,
hear the accent come through once a little bit.
yeah, I don't hear it at all. I mean, I would have had no idea that you were from the East Coast, Jersey, Boston, New York.
Yep.
I don't hear it at all, which is
I,
good.
said-
Like,
I try hard to hide it,
do you
but
really?
yeah, I do. I'm pretty self-conscious about it.
Does it come out in your daily life,
Yeah,
or so
yeah,
when
it
you're
does.
when you're on screen, you just
I try not to do it, but it comes out.
wow. I would have had no idea. Like
Yeah.
that accent can be extremely thick and
Luckily for me, it's not as thick. It's not as thick, but it's there.
yeah. Like I would have no idea. I think Ken's more from Boston than you.
Ken? I don't hear any of it, any
That's
West
what I'm
Coast,
saying.
which
That's
is
what I'm
funny because I was just watching something and I've noticed that like whenever they show like a fire chief, police chief or whatever, they always have that New York Boston accent, right?
saying.
Going no matter where they are, they meet L.A., San Francisco, and they still sound like they're from Boston or New York.
I'm trying to think now. I'm like, again, it is a very specific accent that, but again, like there's other guys like Travis Moody, like you don't
Yeah,
really hear it from him unless if he's on with someone. I saw Tony's figs here. Travis has a tendency to pick up anyone's accent whenever he's on a stream for long periods of time with them.
sometimes it happens to everybody, right? If you're talking to somebody from the South, you start picking up a twang a little bit and you don't even notice.
Yeah, but there are some people that are worse. I remember this girl that I dated. She's like, my mom's coming back from visiting her family in Kentucky, and she's never lived there. But
Mhm.
she's like, wait till she, or actually, we went down there with them, and she's like, it'll take 20 minutes, and all of a sudden, you think that she's from Kentucky with them, and sure enough, she had like for the 3 or 4 days, I forget what it was, she had the Kentucky accent, and like, where the hell did that come from? Like,
It's kind of funny.
I told you.
Yeah,
Anyway,
we went down to South Carolina. I think it was I forget the name of the beach. It's a very popular tourist area, and this is back like when I was just out of high school, and we were like trying hard not to sound like we were from Boston. So we would go into stores, and like everybody knew. They would just go, "Oh, you guys from Boston? Yeah, how'd you know?"
was it worse when you were a kid?
I wasn't as self conscious about it then. I didn't really
Okay.
care. Yeah,
But as you've gotten older, you're just like, man.
yeah. I try to pronounce my R's now.
Well, it doesn't help that in cinema they don't make it. They don't do you justice. Like,
No, there's some really bad ones. But yeah, no, it's weird.
yeah, it's funny when people do try and overdo it.
Yeah.
When you have guys that are from Boston that might be, in a show that's based in Massachusetts or even New York or whatever, like you can hear it, but then you always have the ones that overdo it because they're not from there, and you're like, all right, that's
Is it? I think it was like Seth. What's his name? Does one of the late shows. He just did like a 100 like a 1 minute 20 piece on like a movie pilot like preview trailer. And it was just called Boston Accent. It was hilarious. Some of them are pretty atrocious, which is hilarious.
I would rather hear someone um, go completely over the top if they know they can't do it,
Yeah.
rather than actually try and do it when it's like you're really trying, aren't you? Like I would
Yeah.
rather you go over the top and make it completely, where like no one's ever gonna believe that, but that makes it as believable as anything else. So
Yep.
quickly, let's say hi to the chat really here. So ahead of the chat really quick, we have Krusty O'Crow, Jay Astro, Turk Murphy Toy Solutions, GI Bro, who has the best guns in the business. But I'm going to get on some creatine. I can't do steroids because I'm straight edge. Come Joe Fest. They won't be more ripped, but I'm going to make sure I have bigger guns than you. Then we have Gun Bunny Customs. We have Menhoza, Jay Astro, who has now joined us. I just got 2 of the Valvers Garrison Cavalry guys, and I got to say, man, they articulate well. Those are actually really good figures. There's no doubt about it, man. Like, those figures I really like. Nolan, which makes us Toy Tube official. SCS Dog. We have Tony's Figs. Welcome to a Punk with Gazz. U.S. Combat Dojo. 1 moderator, Matthew Matson. And then we have Machine Man. Where's the other guy? And then we have Christoph Scuba, who's been a member for 7 months, saying, "Good evening, Punk, Gazz, and chat." And then we have Action Figs. My other moderators, good to have 2 moderators, especially when stuff can go awry as it did on Monday.
Yep.
Joe Fan 84. We have Fat Tread, Gaz, Lawrence, can't stay, running errands. Hey, you turn it on your phone and you just listen to it in the background, and that's all you need to do. I don't show anything in particular on this. I mean, who really wants to look at us, right?
Right. That's why I'm using my camera
on. All right. GI Bro saying, luckily I'm not strict edge. You say steroids and his ears perk up. He's like,
so do you drink like occasionally?
I've never drank in my entire life.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am. I've never smoked. I never drank, and I've never done drugs.
Yeah, I've never smoked. I've never done drugs. I drink, but on occasion.
Yeah.
On special occasions, not all the time.
And again, there was just, my mom passed away when I was younger, and it was like one of those things I promised her.
Yep.
And I just didn't. And at 13, I'm like a skateboarder, and I'm in the punk scene, and the guys I hung out with, they were straight edge, and you just start going, and then next thing you know, it's 21, and you're like, I don't drink, and 25, right. 30, and next thing you know, you're like, can I go my whole life without ever doing it? It's easy because I don't know what I'm missing. So
right, yeah.
And then your boss, Ken from Toy Connection, is jumping in here. Actually, he's up here. Hey, Gaz. Hey, Punk. Hey, chat. It was weird. He was like sending me stuff. He's like, you need to tell him that I need him at work. I'm like, dude. I hope
Man, if he does a TKO live ever, then yeah, I'll try to be there. But I mean, he hasn't done one in like a year.
And then
where's my money, buddy? You owe me a paycheck.
He probably pays you as much as I pay my moderators. Clint Jorgensen says, you have a lot of money if you don't drink. You save a lot of money. I don't know because I buy a lot of toys. Yeah. Bobby Wold is here. Punk, you never drank or did drugs. That's exactly why you look like the father from Elf. Or why I don't look like the father from Elf.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yes.
He was like in his late 30s in Elf?
So I was talking about this the other week. My daughter and I earlier this year in summer, I think we were watching. I turned on Elf, and I'm looking at Willie. That was the dad's name.
Yeah.
And I had to go look up how old he was. And I said to Olivia, and I go, do I look that old? And she goes, no. I go, does he look older than me? And she goes, yeah, why? I go, he's 39 there.
That's crazy, right?
I think he was 38 or 39, and you're like, holy shit, dude. And yeah, the drugs, that definitely, that guy, he with all those videos and stuff.
He must have been living it up in the disco era, I'm telling you.
There's a lot of those 80s dads and moms that you look at and you're like, wow. But 50, I'm 49. I just turned 49. 50 was like so old. Look how young the Golden Girls were. When they did that. Like they weren't that old, and you're like, holy shit, dude. They looked ancient.
Yeah, they looked old, but I mean, you also have makeup. I think like the grandma, right? The
She
B.
so
Arthur's mother wasn't even. She's a younger woman, just
she
put on
was
a
the
wig.
youngest of them all, I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah,
I love the Golden Girls. That is,
it was a cool show.
I don't want to say it's an underrated show because I don't think it's underrated. There's so many people. I think it's one of those ones that a lot of men our age don't want to admit to watching.
Watching
But you go watch that, and it is timeless.
if it's
Just
funny.
like it's timeless the same way that Cheers is and The Office because it's pretty much based in a house. You know, technology, like they're not talking about technology. And I remember I've watched some stuff on The Office and they said we didn't want, there's a few things, there's a few episodes with cell phones, but like we didn't want to talk about cell phones and stuff or like the new phone or anything because um, we wanted to be timeless and phones are going to
Yeah,
change. Now,
right.
obviously, there was the episode where they throw Andy's phone in the, see, I don't know if you ever watched The Office,
I've only
but
seen occasional episodes.
oh, they throw Andy's phone up in the ceiling and they keep calling it until he loses it and he punches a hole in the wall. The Office. And so seriously,
I think we actually did that to somebody at work. I just play a prank on them. Yeah.
um, anyway, so as I was saying to you before we started, and this should help all you guys out, I have been on a few shows with Gazz. We've chatted a little bit. We're on one Discord together. We don't really know each other. Unlike when I've had Matthew on here, Tony, or whoever. So what you're learning is a lot of what I'm learning. So
I hope what I got to say is interesting enough.
oh, don't even think. Don't think twice. We've seen you on shows before. We've seen you talk.
Yeah.
You're fine. So where does the name Gazz come from?
Oh, it's a nickname, right? So, in the mid '90s to like the mid 2000s, early 2000s, I worked at Toys R Us part time. It was like a part time job on my full time, right? So I'd go there, and I would want to work the weekend, so I would have to work a Saturday so I can get the Sunday. So, busy time of year comes around, and there were like 10 Chris's in the building at the same time. We all had little walkie-talkies. We're all working the floor, right? So they'd go Chris, and then everybody would go, yeah, at the same time, right? So amongst us Chris's, we decided, well, we can't all be Chris. We're gonna have to have some sort of nicknames. Someone by their last name, some and a couple of them just started calling me Gazz, and it just stuck.
Okay.
And so I just started using that. Like when I first came on YouTube, I called myself the Red Hood because I was a big Red Hood fan, right? And I was like,
Oh, so my son.
Yeah, so I was like, but I'm like, after a while, like you're thinking it's cool and stuff because everyone thinks you're the Red Hood, right? So you start going, after a while, you start going, well, it's not so cool now. I don't want to be known the Red Hood, right? So you're like, all right, just put my nickname in. Now they threw that like N7 crap on the end of it because somebody else has the name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I used to run a sports message board, and before that, like when I was doing that or when I was in sports message, I went by Boba Fett. That was the license plate that I got the license plate Boba Fett before Star Wars blew up again.
Right, for your car?
Yeah.
Oh,
I still have the plates. I don't have the license plate on my car, but I still have two of the plates. I had a Dodge Neon, and somebody stole my plate, probably to do a gas and go.
Right.
So when I went down, I was like, hey, and I saw if I could get it, and Boba Fett was available. So it's
Nice.
BOBAFET, because you can only have that
One
many.
T. Yeah.
Which is no big deal. I mean, you can figure it out, right? And I was at Target one day, and this guy walks by, another collector, and he goes, you have that license plate? Went, yep. And he goes, I went down about 6 months ago to try and get it. And I was like, who the hell would have that license plate?
It was me.
I was like, now you know. But what's funny is that I have been in other chats, Toy Habits, maybe not Geek Dad Life and uh, uh, Toy Anxiety, I think. And there's a Boba Fett, and I would see them comment, and I'd be like,
Yeah.
I'm like, what did I say? I'm like, wait, I haven't used that in years, but I would see it and I would instantly think, because I used to own a sports message board. So
Yeah.
I would always see mine. So I'll see it and I'm still like, holy crap, you know. But you said there's so many Chris's. I grew up, there was no other Lawrences or Larry. Like
Yeah,
I didn't, other than my
a
dad and family.
yeah, that's I don't want to say it's a unique name, but it's an out there name. Like
Yeah.
I've known like a lot, like no matter where I work, there's always like a Chris. No,
Yeah.
Chris isn't actually my name. It's Christian, right? But there's either Christopher or Christian in the building. So there's always like 3 or 4 of you in the building. It's like that. So
And it is such a, obviously, I mean, Christian, you can see why someone would call Chris or Christopher.
yeah.
So you're going to hear Chris, but I grew up, I never had to worry about that.
Yeah.
And I think Lawrence is a known name. It's not like one of like, where did they come up with that name? But
I mean, it's Lawrence. So they call you Larry? Is Larry like your nickname?
I went by Larry as a kid.
Yeah.
And then and my dad always went by Lawrence. And then when I got to that adult age of working, because you heard Larry as a kid, I always just felt Lawrence was more professional.
Right.
So I started introducing myself as Lawrence, but people still call me Larry. I'm not, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm not, neither one bothers me. I just started going by Lawrence because even to this day, I feel like it sounds more professional because I went by Larry my entire life, and you think of yourself as Little Larry. Again, I've always been short. So Little Larry's always been.
Same thing with me. Like my entire life as a little kid, everybody called me Chris. So when I got to that age, I was like, I want to be, call me Christian, but nobody would ever call me that. They call me Chris.
Yeah.
They're like, I date girls and they're like, I love your name, but they would call me Chris.
We've talked about it. Clint Yorkson says, "Am I the only one with a Punk with Toys license plate around here?" I was thinking about going and getting that, but then I'm like, what will someone do at Joe Fest if there's that asshole?
Just come out of your car's TP'd.
Yeah. Well, it just sits there for the most part. I mean, did you go to Joe Fest? I know you didn't go last year. You went one year.
I went the year before. Yeah, I flew down.
Yeah. So you could just walk into town, and if you want to go, for lunch or whatever, dinner, you just walk into town, and everything's been walking.
It's actually a nice area.
Yeah, except for everything closes at like.
Oh, I mean, it is a small town. Yeah.
Because
it is Sunday. Yeah, and you're in the Bible Belt. Yeah, so
we didn't realize it until we tried finding something. Eternian Royalty says, when I hear Larry, I think of Impractical Jokers. I think of the
I think of Jack Tripper's friend in Three's Company.
Yes, that was at the Regal Beagle.
The Regal Beagle, yeah. Oh my God, the Regal Beagle.
Talking about that, we're like, we need the Regal Beagle at the at Joe Fest. No, I think of Bob Newhart, the Newhart Show.
Oh yeah, they got the Larry brothers, right?
It was Larry and my brother Daryl, my other brother Daryl.
That's it, yeah.
So where did you grow up at? Well, first off, how old are you? Do you mind me asking?
Let's just say I'm north of 50.
Are you really?
Yeah, 51. Yeah.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, hey, I look young. I know, I get it. You look like, do you have any gray? Like, you don't look like you have any
gray. I got gray hair.
Okay. It's hard to tell. You can fully see it on me now. Like, it was.
Yeah, when my beard grows in, which I don't like to shave, so the stubble, like I just shaved it down today. When it grows in, I've got like gray here and the gray on the side. I'm waiting for it to go here because I want to totally go Jack O'Neill from Stargate. I want it to go white and then white.
I was like, I'm just gonna let it grow in. I was doing this in the winter because I get tired of it. Like, how much gray? But I can't even find the gray because it's like this big bald spot here now. the I'm like, all right, it's time just to shave it. Not bick it because it's just a pain in the ass till summer
Yeah.
comes around. But it's just so cool. I mean, when it's fucking
It's
9
it's really
degrees.
I'm supposed to get a haircut last week.
So where did you grow up at? Was it always
I grew up in the city of Worcester,
okay?
which is the second largest city in Massachusetts. Originally I'm from Berlin, Germany. I was born there. My
Oh,
mom
wow.
married a GI, and we moved over here when I was like 5 or 6, and just went to school there. So I went to school like the first day in a pair of lederhosen. I don't know why my mom dressed me that way.
All right. So you said you were born in Germany.
Yeah,
Now, were you born on a base
not
or
German
so
hospital.
so you're German?
Yeah, I'm German.
Okay, so you can never run for president.
Can't run for president.
You're probably still better than the candidates we had in the past 20 years. I know it's not a political statement, not a political thing. I promise you.
If you guys want to vote me president, I'm cool. I'll take the job.
No, you have to be born here. You have to be born.
Well, I can run for Senate, right?
You can run for anything other than that. Well, obviously, you can't be vice president.
Yep.
Because
that's all right.
Yeah, dude, I don't know why anyone would want that job. Again, I'm not getting political, but like when you look at the presidency, it's like, why would you want that? Like your privacy is over the rest of your life.
Wow, I mean, that and your like your family, like never mind
exactly.
the job and yourself, but like if you're married and you have kids, I mean, you think about it, you're not going to be if you become president, you're going to be in your like late 50s, 60s, right? I would think it's mostly 60s, right? Because I don't think I think JFK was like the youngest, right? But you're gonna be like in your 60s. So you're if you're a normal person or a normal individual, you've had kids when you're 20s, late 20s into your 30s. So your kids are gonna be like teenagers. So all that spotlight's gonna be on them, which is crazy.
And not to mention, again, this is not political, but if you're in there 8 years, I mean, Obama looked really young when he went in. After 8 years. I mean, I know we all age a lot in 8 years, but fuck, man, like
he got gray.
he came. Do you ever watch? Star Trek?
Oh, I love Star Trek.
So he's kind of like when they show Tuvok when he was on Voyager.
Yeah.
And then when they show him like later on, like in other episodes where he's like an admiral and he's all grade.
Yeah.
That is Obama going in, coming out.
Yeah.
40 years.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's one job. I don't know. You get this a lot of stuff on you, you know. But I mean, if you have the right advisors in there and people in your cabinet, your job should be pretty easy because they should give you the right information to make the right decisions. So anyway,
just not something I ever.
Come on, punk for president.
Yeah, exactly. They
come on.
They have a bowling alley in the White House. I'd say, well, can we build a half pipe? All I need to do.
Why not?
Get the dimensions.
It's gonna happen, right? It's gonna happen. I mean, some of these kids that are not, now that are skating and stuff, you never know.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. SCS Dog, you are absolutely correct. Picard hasn't aged in 35 years. That guy looks the exact same.
Well, I know now he seems a lot. Did you watch Picard? He seems a lot older now than he was. I mean, he looks the same, but he moves around like a grandpa, which is like, yeah, all right.
It almost feels like they had to age him. Like, are you really trying to age this 89-year-old or whatever? And I don't know, is he 89? I know he's up there.
How old he is now.
It almost looks like they had to age him because it's like,
I know he was like, I think in his mid 40s when he did Next Generation, I think.
Yeah. But again, it's one of those things where it's like you look at, you look at him in the X-Men, and you're like, okay, well, you don't look that old then.
Yeah.
So they aged you. Tripwire says, but how can you age when you already look 80? All right, so I've said this for years. If I was Ric Flair I would have hated being in my 30s because you were in shape like someone in their 70s. But now when you're in that shape in your 70s, you look pretty damn good.
So if you bring up Ric Flair. If you look at wrestling, and this is not a knock against any wrestlers because I've enjoyed it when I was a kid and I'm enjoying it now, whatever. But if you look at the wrestlers from like the old days, right? From the old days, with the exception of like guys like Hogan and Bret Hart and like the Ultimate Warrior, but most of them, those guys look like they were like dads that were in their 40s, right? They didn't look like they were like should be like today's wrestlers are all jacked up.
You
These
know
guys
what?
are more like belly fat with some like flab,
A lot of them, yes, but the more
right?
and more I watch of older wrestlers, the more you realize some of them were on roids way
Yeah, that too.
before.
Yeah, yeah.
You look at like I always thought of I love the British Bulldogs, my favorite tag team of all time.
They were good.
I love Davey Boy Smith, and he was always the powerhouse.
Yeah.
And then you go back and you look at the Dynamite Kid, and you're like, oh my gosh, that guy had muscles where muscles weren't supposed to be.
Right?
Right? I mean, he
Yeah.
made the Crippler look like small in his stature and the way he was. And then you look at Davy Boy, and he wasn't that tall, but he was this wide mammoth guy.
You could just look at Vince McMahon himself.
Yeah.
Like when he took over and he was just doing the commentary, and then all of a sudden it's like he's like bodybuilder extraordinaire.
Yeah, you don't notice as a kid.
Yeah, yeah,
You don't notice as a kid, but when you don't notice as a kid, but when you look back and you see, because when you lift weights and you watch other bodybuilders and stuff, and you see them wear suits, you can tell who's big. When
yeah.
you look back at those and you're like, oh my gosh, he was always lifting. His suits were always custom.
What, Vince? Yeah.
Yeah. But you didn't notice it as a kid. But when you look back at some of those old interviews, you're like, oh my gosh, dude. Like he obviously just worked out and probably shit on some lady's head. I don't know.
I just remember seeing a lot of guys that look like dads when they were in the ring.
Yes.
Back in the kid, like I mean, you have, like I said, you have your occasional like ripped guys, but then like most of them were just like, oh my god, that looks like my dad, or like some like like my uncle.
And then you have Rocky Johnson, and you
yeah.
go, wait a minute,
Whoa.
like Rocky Johnson and the guy that Hogan basically stole everything from. I can't think of his name. Dude, he's so famous. Someone in the chat's gonna know exactly who it is.
I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you'll know.
Did you? Oh, so
shitting on head muscles.
Did you see Raw like Monday on Netflix?
I went and watched it. It was awful. Superstar Billy Graham. Thank you very much.
I thought it was pretty good.
I thought it was awful. And I haven't watched wrestling in years, but I went and watched it.
Yeah.
I'm like, let's see what. And I thought it looked dark. There was no energy.
That stadium was dark, but I mean, like,
yeah. But
they got individual lights on the seats.
Yeah,
like,
that was.
It was crazy. I'm like, I was more fascinated by the stadium. I was like, damn, this is cool.
The ring being just all black.
Yeah. I don't like that. I don't like the ring cover. No, you're right.
Yeah, so I don't know. And again, I haven't watched wrestling in years, but all the guys that came back, just super boring. The Undertaker coming back as the American Badass. Did we forget that that was like his worst gimmick ever?
Yeah.
And all he did was ride his bike around.
I heard the bell go off, and I'm like, all right, he's gonna come out, right? I was looking down that little tunnel, and then the bike comes around. I'm like, oh, come on, man, really? But yeah. I was gonna bring up the Hogan thing when he came out. I felt kind of bad for him, but I mean, what can I say?
You know what? They take a lot to make me feel bad for that guy.
Yeah, I watched that McMahon thing. He's like, oof. Anyway,
I watched that. That again. I talked to some other guys that I still follow a lot of what's going on, especially what happens with old wrestlers. And I wasn't surprised by anything that was in a documentary. I think it's all been laid out. There might have been a few things, but a few things that I had heard were actually positive things about him. And I can't remember all, but like all the bad stuff, to me, it had already come out. So I wasn't shocked at all.
I think the booing was more political than anything else.
Oh, for Hogan? Oh
Yeah.
And like, you know, I was at WrestleMania 3.
Yeah. You were at WrestleMania 3?
WrestleMania 3 with 93,173 of my best friends.
Nice.
And Hulk Hogan picked up that big, mean, ugly giant. He slammed him to the ground. And all the I can't. I get goosebumps. I get like when I watch the promos leading up to that. Andre ripping the cross off and throwing it. Andre challenging him. Hogan yelling yes. I still get goosebumps. I'm like, I'm back to 1988 or 87, whatever it was, and I get goosebumps like to this day.
I remember my stepdad taking me down to the Worcester Auditorium to see a WWF event, and it was like the main. If I remember correctly, I should even say it's the main event. One of the matches was Sergeant Slaughter versus Pat Patterson.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jabro says, "Tell us more, Lawrence. How many people were there? 93,173 people." I know they say that those numbers were fudged, but I call bullshit. I was there. Where
was it? Was that the Pontiac? The
Pontiac Silverdome. The Pontiac Silverdome.
Everyone says
93,173 people. Now, understand this. For a football game, that stadium held 80,000. And then you had all those seats
on the floor. Yeah.
And this was not when the back half of a stadium was blocked off for the Titantron and
they didn't have one. Yeah, they didn't have one. They just walked out.
Yeah. It was completely surrounded.
Could be.
And they can say they fudged it. I'm never backing off that because it's taken me a long time to memorize that number. All right.
I think they did fudge it though.
I don't think. Yeah,
maybe I think it's in the I think it's in the documentary, the McMahon documentary.
Yeah, well, that's bullshit. I just remember them talking about 93,173, and Jesse says to Gorilla, he says, "I don't think that counted us. Maybe it's 75 now." Like.
Jesse was a great commentator.
Yes, he was. Him and Gorilla were amazing.
Yeah, they worked great together.
All right, so you said you were born in Germany.
Yeah.
And you said you came over when you were 5.
Around 5, yeah. My mom married a GI and we moved over.
So being in Germany, do you remember? I mean, you're old enough to remember like the first toys you might have had. Do you remember like the first toys you had played with? I know for us it was like, for me it was like Matchbox, Hot Wheels.
In Germany?
Adventure. Did you have different stuff?
I had more Legos and Matchbox cars. That's the kind of stuff that I had when I came over.
So that's what you remember.
Yeah, because I remember when we moved over and we settled in the apartment that we would live in for quite a few years. My neighbor, my landlord, had 2 sons. In like the first, like I remember, like I don't even probably the first weekend that we were there, we were the back corner of the yard just playing cards for like half the day.
Oh, okay. Clint Jorgensen says 10 minutes behind, but the new kids are from Worcester.
Worcester.
Sorry,
that's not Worcester. It's Worcester.
Worcester. I didn't say anything when you brought up like every police chief, but all I could think about was I'm like, Tom Selleck in Blue Bloods doesn't have one.
True. but his son does, right? Because he's a new kid on the block. Yeah.
They just ended that show, and I absolutely love that show.
You know what? I like his show, the one where he's a police chief in like a small town in Maine. I can't remember the name of it. Jesse Stone. That's a great series. Yeah.
I turned it on, and I think it got lost on. I think it was on Netflix. I think it got lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Go away. Go say hi. Go ask someone else. There's only one other person to ask. I literally let him out right before I jumped on here. Alice and Troy says
Worcester
makes that lovely sauce, right?
No, they don't make the word. Yeah, no.
And Daredevil Dave says, "What is going on, all you punkomaniacs?" Hey,
show the pythons.
pythons.
There you go.
I guess I got some working to do. They're pushing just over 15 right now. So I'm not gonna hit 24 inches ever. The 24-inch pythons, but
That's
I
great.
can push 16. I think I can push 16.
You do
I
it.
think I was at 16 at one time.
I think I'm like, no, never mind.
I know a lot of people, they see me wearing shirts and they think, oh my God, this guy has such an ego. He wears shirts that are like really tight, but I'm like, I'm 5'4" on a good day. I have to wear a large because of how big I am. And if I wear an extra large, I'm swimming in it. It's like going back to being a skateboarder and looking at the clothes. I see some of those pictures and I'm like, God damn it. Like, how come no one told me those clothes were that big?
I look back at the early 90s and I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking? Just wearing like, I mean, we were wearing wrestling shoes. My dude thought it was, my friend at the time was like, we should get these wrestling shoes. Like, okay. And we just walked around in wrestling shoes and your feet hurt because there's no sole. It's like why?
That's how I feel with some of the skate shoes today. There's no padding whatsoever. And it feels like, because they want it for board feel. And I'm just like, I feel every pebble when I'm walking around. So yeah. I don't wear those types of I hate them.
I wear Sambas or Adidas Hamburg, or like indoor soccer shoes. And like I was getting these. There's an interesting story about these. We're not talking about shoes, right? So Adidas Hamburg, it's just a brand that they named and just named after a German city. But anyway, so the only way I could get these was to get an import them from England because nobody here sold them. And all of a sudden, I went to buy like the last one. I was going to go on a trip. I wanted to buy a pair of new ones because I'm going to look, sharp when I go, right? Couldn't find them anywhere for under I was getting them for like $50. Now they're like $150 because everybody's buying them. So I'm like, shit, I need to find some shoes. And I found these like black and white Adidas. They look like soccer shoes, but they're skater shoes. Named after a town that was in East Germany, which I think is hilarious. Yeah, and they're comfortable as hell.
Adidas are big into skating right now. So is New Balance, which is weird. So you brought again. We're way off topic, but that's fine because that's what the show is about. Basically being off topic. When you talked about how you were buying these shoes from overseas for $50, now they're $150. All these cool kids now, these teenagers and 20-year-olds that are buying Champion, that is Kmart shit. All right?
Kmart's not around no more.
No, but when your mom, like when you opened up a gift on Christmas or your birthday and it was like a Champion shirt, you're like,
yeah,
I'm not wearing this. The Champion shoes.
Yep. Out.
Okay, so you move over here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you have any siblings?
I have a sister and a brother.
Are they older or younger?
Younger.
Okay.
My sister and then my brother. Yeah.
Now, are they from your?
No, they were born here in Worcester, Massachusetts.
Okay.
Not Worcester.
Whatever. You're from Germany.
Yeah.
I don't know where Worcester is. Hey, if I don't mess up some words here,
that's all right.
Really a punk stream, right? When you move here, you said you were really wearing those little.
Yeah, my mom dressed me in them. Yeah. I don't know why. It was like the first day. Well, in Germany, like the first day of school is like a big event, right? You're going to school for the first time. You get literally there. I forget the name of it. It's this giant cone, and they fill it with candy and toys and shit, and then they give it to you because you're going to school for the first day. It's like it's a big event, so you go to school. So you would dress up to go to school. I mean, you used to dress up, right? You wanted to look nice when you went to school. You wore your brand new clothes that you just got, right?
Oh yeah. When you get like the brand new shoes and you had the brand new clothes and you were, so, and then, you'd always see the person that was wearing the same clothes from last year and you always felt bad for them.
Yeah.
Or picked on them, one or the other. Yeah. And of course, now I look at it like, dude, I've been wearing the same jeans for 4 years now.
Right. My favorite pair of jeans has got to be about 4 years old now, 3 or 4
You
years
know,
old now.
and I get mad if I have to buy new ones. Like,
Yeah, they're starting to get some wear spots, and we have to buy some new ones.
oh,
I always hate
right.
breaking in new jeans.
You know what? They have the stretch ones now. They have
Yeah,
that stretch that is
actually, I found a Army Navy store, and I got myself a pair of fatigues, some tan fatigues, and I'm like wearing those, and I'm like, those are the most comfortable pants ever.
And Azazu's Clubhouse is joining us. Look at that handsome
Yep.
fella there. All right, so you get over here, you start school, and obviously so clearly your brother and sister are over 5 years younger than you.
Well, when we first moved over here, they didn't exist.
Exactly. You said you moved
Yeah.
over here when you're 5. So,
Yeah.
So I would say you probably didn't have any built-in play friends.
Well, my stepfather had a big family, right? He had a lot of brothers and sisters. A few of them had some kids, so those cousins became friends, and they all lived in the same town, so we all kind of occasionally got together and stuff. But when we moved in the neighborhood, I probably made friends pretty quick. I had my neighbors downstairs, and we'd go bike riding and stuff like that. And like I could only speak German when I came over, but I was like 5.
Can you still speak German?
Yeah, I can. I haven't I can understand it, but it's like I hadn't spoken it in like years. So it's like it comes out kind of like choppy and gibberish.
Yeah.
But like when I went with my brother, I think it was in 2018. We went over to Berlin. We went to London and Berlin, and like he was like, getting the translator ready and stuff. We were walking around, and it just popped into my head, and I started.
Yeah, it seemed like it'd be something that speaking it would be harder, but understanding.
Yeah.
But even till 5. What about your mom?
My mom still sounds like she just came over.
That's so weird. Like, come on, Arnold, you haven't lost the accent yet.
Which is hilarious because it's her accent is very thick, and when she speaks English, she throws in German words. But when she speaks German, she throws in English words. So she'll be talking to my family over there, and she'll start saying things in English mixed in. It's just hilarious. So when I go over there and talk to them, they're like, "Your mother's German is horrible," and I said her English isn't good either.
That is awesome. So your mom has no A language, is what you're saying.
Oh, she can speak English pretty well, but just it's got a very thick accent.
Yeah,
very thick accent. Yeah.
All right, so you're 5. You're here. Do you remember like the first toys you really like fell in love with when you got over here?
Well, I remember having I don't know where I got it. I mean, I was trying to think where I got it. I'm sure it's probably like a family member gave it to me or something. But I had a $6 Million Man. I wasn't around. I wasn't around when the show was. I wasn't like. I wasn't.
Back of the head to the eye.
Yeah. The eagle eye vision. I had that, and I had some sort of like large helicopter. I remember having that and a lot of cars and Legos, and really loved the Legos. But like the first toy I really remember getting and like just absolutely loving was, I would say, G.I. Joe, right? And it's just kind of sad because it's like 82 and I'm like almost 10 years old at the time. Like before that, it's just little cars and Legos, really.
Yeah. Treasures for Trigger is asking, is Megaforce big in Germany?
I don't know, but it's big with this German.
I've never seen that. I've still never.
You've never seen Megaforce? You got to give it a watch.
I've heard about it. I heard it was really good, and when I went to look for it, it wasn't free anywhere. So
yeah, I think you got to like either rent it or buy it on Amazon.
Yeah, which is probably like $5. I don't know. I should probably just do it. I mean, I spend $5 on stupid shit all the time.
It's good. Just make sure you don't watch the riff track one. You actually watch the film.
The riff track.
Yeah, MST 3000. You ever see that? Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Oh,
you ever heard that?
Yeah, yes, I do.
Yeah. And remember when you're watching it, It's a movie from 1982 or
Yeah.
1981.
So Ken is asking, did you grow up with
No.
any adventure team?
No. Oh,
Shut-
maybe I had an adventure team guy. I don't know. I just had I know I had one of those large like action doll guys. I want to say it was a $6 Million Man, but I could be wrong.
So you said that you got into G.I. Joe? Like you said, like that was...
Yeah, I remember playing G.I. Joes. My first G.I. Joe, which is where I think it's 83, was Firefly. I got him with the Skyhawk. Remember getting him.
wow.
Yeah, I remember getting him, and I was all excited. I didn't even know he was a Cobra. I was like, "This guy's cool. I'll take him. I don't want that dude." But I remember playing with the 82 Joes. So I think my friend had him.
Okay. Because I was gonna, because that's series 3, I think. Firefly is like series 3.
Yeah, well, it'd be like the 1.5, and then with them, I think he came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, because you're a couple years older than me. So yeah, that does seem kind of old, but
No.
I mean,
But before that, it was just Legos and little cars. That's all we ever played.
okay.
Yeah.
So as you go into middle school, you're obviously still kind of playing with toys. Now,
Playing Joes, yeah. I would say Joes and Legos. Those are my
now,
two.
when you were playing with toys, were your friends also playing, or was it? Because it seems like a lot of people our age, we started to hide that we were still playing with toys, and now years later, we're looking back like we were all playing with toys, and yet we all were trying to act like we didn't.
Well, and I think like we were playing. Me and our friends were playing Joes until like at least the 88 line.
Okay.
Well, no, I say before the 88 line. Just before the 88 line. But it was more like we were just like, again, like just hanging out in Buddy's yard, digging bases in the dirt and setting up like some sort of, and then throw rocks at him and stuff. You know what I mean? I didn't care what happened to him then, right? And whatever. And it was like that. I mean, like, and then I'd go home and I'd probably play Joes by myself. Like some crazy ass like building. I don't know, some crazy ass stuff in the house. That's about it. Freezing Joes in Tupperware, having fun.
I don't think I ever froze a Joe.
No, you never. That was that was from Empire Strikes Back, right? Because you see Han get frozen, you're like, oh, okay, crankcase. I'm sorry, you're getting frozen tonight.
What I used to love to do with my it worked better for Star Wars, mostly the any of the stormtroopers, is take tinfoil and you wrap tinfoil over them, and then they make that perfect form. So once you form it, you slowly pull it out. It didn't really do anything. Probably drove my mom nuts, and I was blowing through all her tinfoil.
Well, my mom had all these Tupperware bowls. I don't know if she sold Tupperware, or she just bought a lot of Tupperware. Oh, we had the cups, the bowl, everything, and she had these like.
I would assume she's around my mom's age, so they all sold Tupperware.
Right, but she had this like perfect size piece of Tupperware. It's perfect size. It was slender, like you could put like, I don't know, like you fit a Joe in there like a casket. So I'd fill it up with water, put a Joe in there, put the top on, and I would level the water out just right so that like part of the Joe was still out of the ice, and then I would freeze it overnight, and then I'd have Cobra Commander have some crazy scheme or something, or whoever used this Cobra Commander would have some crazy scheme about how he froze because he was torturing him.
I used to spend all this time like building bases. I didn't really realize I was basically building dioramas so I could.
Yeah.
But now I'm like mad at myself that I never thought of doing that. Like Cobra Commander freezing.
You can still do it.
Shows.
You can still do it.
I know. I mean, it's on my mind now.
Dude, it was one time. I remember vividly one time. So I had a lot of Legos. So a lot of the things that I saw, I tried to implement like through my Legos. Like I wanted a vehicle for G.I. Joe, but money was kind of tight around the house, so I would build the vehicle out of Legos. So this mismatched rainbow colored like Humvee or something. But I really got fascinated by this toy line. I forget what I want to call. I think it was called Air Raiders. Do you remember that? They were on like a drawstring. You put out a drawstring in the vehicle.
I know what you're talking about. I don't remember them, but Matthew and I had this conversation. He's like, "How do you not remember?" Like I don't even. But now I know what you're talking about because
I was so fascinated by this toy line, so fascinated by it. I wanted to get some, but obviously, my site. So I built stuff out of Lego, and then I took my mom's like sewing string, and I taped string all around my room, so I had all these vehicles going around. It was nuts.
Sky
Commanders.
Commander?
Yeah, maybe
Okay.
maybe that's it. Yeah, yeah.
Let's see. Oh, see, now they're yelling at you. Not Sky Commanders.
It was on drawstrings, and they had like little vehicles. Everything was off the vehicles, and they would like fly around. That and Starcom. Starcom was crazy.
Well,
My
that's what
friend
made
got those, and I fell in love with that stuff too.
that's what made Zaymont and Tomax awesome. You know,
Yeah,
like,
because
you
they
would
had
get a longer string, and
Yep.
then you, especially if you had an upstairs, you would tape it somewhere and make them go all the
zip
way
line.
down.
Yeah.
Probably drove your mom nuts because you were taking their sewing string.
I mean, like around here on Saturday afternoons after cartoons was over, we had a show called Creature Double Feature, right? And they would show like monster movies, like the old Universal stuff. And we show Godzilla movies, and that was like my favorite stuff to watch. And I would, whatever vehicle, like military vehicles I would have, I would line up in front of the TV. So like when Godzilla came out, I'd be like, all right, fire, like playing with the Japanese defense force and trying to attack Godzilla. Yeah, it's crazy.
All right. So as you go from your middle school to high school, were you still playing with toys, or did it start to get pushed to the side?
Well, in the beginning, I was still kind of playing GI Joes, and I started going to a vocational school, right? Worcester Voltech was the name of the school. And I was taking automotive, which was my third choice. I wanted drafting for some reason. I don't know why. I just wanted drafting. I like to draw, so I figured, I'll go to drafting, right? Which is completely opposite of what I really wanted to do. But anyway, and then my stepfather had checked off, I want to say either welding or plumbing, and then automotive, one of the two. And I got my third choice, which was automotive, which I didn't want to go to, right? And I go there and I find out that like half the school wanted to go to automotive, and that was their first choice. And I'm like, but anyway, so I went to automotive, and I was having fun. I was still playing GI Joes, but I just played in the house, right? I wouldn't take it outside and stuff. And then we ended up moving out from Worcester, and we ended up moving to the smaller, I guess you call it a preppy town. And yeah, she's still around.
Yeah, she just dropped. NECA's done a couple figures, and she looks as good as ever.
She does it. I think her daughter does it too, right? Daughter kind of plays over every once in a while.
I have no idea. I know that at 68, I think she is 69, something like that. She looks good, and I know people say, "Oh, plastic surgery, whatever." I'm like, I don't care. Like,
I don't think she's had any plastic surgery.
I don't think
on her face.
It doesn't look like it. She looks like someone who has aged very well.
Yeah.
Because I've seen a lot of people get plastic surgery, and you go, "Why?" Kenny Rogers.
You can still watch her stuff. I think there's a channel here on YouTube that shows her stuff. Her macabre.
Yeah, I went down and watched like these documentaries on her on YouTube. It is fascinating how she became Elvira and the lawsuits that she went through and everything. Like, it's like, but she owns the rights to Elvira.
Yeah.
So everything goes through her, and so I don't think she's ever going to have to worry about money, because anytime they sell something like that.
I wish they would still do more shows like she did. I mean, there's one now. I guess if you have MeTV, they have Svengoolie does it, and then I think here on YouTube there's a channel called Creature Features that does it.
I haven't watched MeTV in quite some time, but I looked for a while, and I was like, every show that came on, you're like,
I had to tune in. I had it. I like Svengoolie every Saturday. I was like, well, I don't have cable anymore, so I can't watch it because MeTV's not on like any of the streaming stuff. But I used to, every Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, my ex-girlfriend and me, I was like, I gotta see what's on Svengoolie. I just gotta see what's on.
I was just telling the other day, My dad loved the show. My mom hated it. She was like, "There's nothing funny about that whole situation." And that was Hogan's Heroes.
Oh,
And I it's on Prime, and I hit it, and I'm about 5 or 6 episodes into it because I just turned on when I'm like, this show is fucking hilarious. Like, and again, I see my mom's whole point of why, like, there is nothing funny about that situation. But my dad, he would laugh his ass off, and I fully understand why he thinks it's funny.
I grew up with like Hogan's Heroes, MASH, Barney Miller, All in the Family, all those type of comedies. Because that's my stepfather used to watch those things like crazy.
Yeah, and again, like, MASH wasn't making fun. Like, Hogan's Heroes is literally,
Yeah,
I mean, they are making fun of some of the worst. They weren't making fun of what stuff that happened, but they were in the middle. They set themselves in the middle of what was some of the worst atrocities
yeah.
ever known. And I'm sorry, I watched. Like, I turn, and I'm like, this is so good.
It's a show that wouldn't even be aired today.
No,
They would never do it
I'm
today.
surprised that Prime even puts it on.
Well, I mean, it's classic.
You couldn't get away
television.
with Married with Children today.
No, you couldn't. That was a great show.
Yes, and it had no ending. Do you know that? It has no ending.
I didn't even.
I
I
didn't
don't
either.
even think I've seen. I don't think I've even seen all of them. I know I've seen a lot of them.
I didn't realize that it didn't have an
Really?
ending. They said they came back and they were like, show's been canceled. They came back after, and he was like, what? And it was top rating, but it was when Fox was starting to grow, and they were scared that
Wasn't that was a spinoff of another show, right? With what was it?
no.
I want to say I don't think it was like duets or something like that. Like the
I don't-
character, I think Al Bundy was a character on that.
There were spinoffs that came off of
Yeah, off of that. Yeah.
that didn't last, but I don't think it was. Not like
I have to look into that.
The Simpsons were a spinoff of
Tracy Ullman show.
Tracy Ullman show. And man, if you watch those early Simpson skits and stuff, so bad.
That's why they got greenlit for a TV show. It's crazy.
No, that's what you look back and you're like, how? Like, who? Like, how bad were you hurting for?
How old is that show? It's like 30 years old now, right?
Simpsons are older than that.
Is it? They came out what in 89, 90, right? Yeah, Jesus, man, that's crazy. It's still on the air.
Yeah, I think 89, 90, because I was still in middle school when it. So yeah,
It's still
on the Tracy Ullman show. Matthew will know. Matthew will give us
an
exact date. Joe Fan says 89. He was 5. Man, you're young. All right, so you go to high school.
Yeah.
What are you doing in high school? Do you get into collecting comic books? Are you into sports, music?
I got into comic books. I discovered me and our friends had gone like bike riding around Worcester, and we discovered a comic book store like in the downtown area. It was like hidden away. It was next to like a Chinese store, like an old school like Chinese store. They were selling like ninja stars and katanas and stuff. Right? They were wicked into the ninja stuff, right? And we would go in there, and then my friend noticed this comic book store. We said, we should go in here. So we went in there, and we started buying comic books and got into comic books. And my mom got in a divorce, and she started dating this guy, and it was like a friend of his had a whole bunch of comic books, and he was looking to get rid of them. So he told my mom's boyfriend at the time, told him, he's like, you can give them to him if you want to just get rid of them. I don't know if he gave him money or whatever, but the guy gave me all these comic books. So I had like all these old X-Men. So I started reading all that shit, and started reading comics. And then we moved in to this Westboro area, and there was like a little comic shop there. And me and the friends I had made there, we would go down there religiously daily. Every day we would go down there. We know there's no new comic book coming out, but we go in there just to chill and talk to the guy that was down there.
And they didn't have a problem, like, because I don't remember finding comic books until middle to high school when I
Yeah.
could drive. I mean, I knew there was a couple other ones, but I didn't. I could imagine being a comic store owner and watching kids like thumb through the books and be like, those
Oh,
have to be
no, we would go down there and hang out with them and talk to them.
okay.
Well, we would get our comic books, we have subscriptions that would come in. We'd say,
Okay.
hey, can you hold this and this and this? Then we would get them, but then we'd just go down and hang out with them because we'd like I guess I don't want to say I was an outcast. I don't feel like I was, but I didn't have too many friends in high school, so I just shot down there.
So no sports for you.
No, wish I had though. When I look back on it, if I could go back and do it again, I would try. I would try to play some sports.
Any music or you get any like I'm a punk rocker and it's very you become like being a punk, like again, especially growing up skateboarder, like it's who you are. I don't think listening to Top 40, people are like, I love this music so much. They're just gonna go to whatever comes next. And for me, it's always been
So me, ever since I was like little, when we moved here, we listened to Casey Kasem's Top 40 every Sunday, right? Which is
He's from
exactly
Michigan.
huh?
He's from Michigan.
Yeah. So we listened to that. So I was like 80s music is like wicked huge with me, right? I love
like
80s music. But like for like band wise, when I was like in high school, I started listening to more rock and roll. And that's that. Well, I guess if you want to call it, I was listening to Guns N' Roses, Van Halen, stuff like that. And so the bands that I stuck with, like since I was like really got into music, where I was like, still in like grammar school, or I would be listening to like Huey Lewis, Van Halen. Those are the kind of bands that stuck with me throughout the whole time.
Okay. So no subgenre. Like punk is like it's more than music. It's you go on to shows and it becomes an identity. It's
Right.
weird. So I always wonder, like, because I'm surprised at how many people in the toy community that I found listen to punk hardcore.
Yeah.
Metal's not all that shocking because metal is it's way more popular, and I think
it wasn't back when I was a kid.
It was
metal was like the
burnout.
It's those metalheads.
Yep, the burnouts.
Yeah,
those guys smoking.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't want to say like I'm in a genre of music. I kind of like because I listen to the top 40 a lot, so there's always different music on there from all different genres. So I kind of like I range from like Dean Martin to like Willie Nelson, right?
Okay.
Mostly everything between. I mean, there's some things that I won't delve into. Like I don't go into hardcore country, hardcore rap, or anything like that. But it's a large variety of like music that I do like. Not narrowed down to one area. Not that that's a bad thing. It's not.
No, I don't care. I love being a pure punk rocker and skateboarder all through high school. I wouldn't change that at all.
I mean, like I remember my ex-girlfriend, her sister, liked to go to like these like shows, like these random shows and stuff, and she got tickets for a show at the Hampton Beach Casino up in New Hampshire here, and she's like, hey, do you want to go? She's got like 4 tickets. She's like, I'm gonna go, my mom's gonna go, she's gonna go, but we need somebody else to go. Do you want to go? I'm like, well, yeah, sure. Who's playing? She's like, Huey Lewis. I'm like, Huey Lewis in the News? And she's like, no, just Huey Lewis. And not the News? It's like, you got to be there. So I went with them. And they were all shocked that like everything that he sang, I was like singing along with, because they didn't really realize that I was a Huey Lewis fan. So there I am with like a Budweiser just singing along in this small little venue, which was really cool. It's really cool. That guy can sing, man, I tell you.
I would be lying if I thought anyone was an actual Huey Lewis fan. I just thought he did music and people liked this.
Well, I am. And nice to meet you.
Yeah, I it's like a lot of Huey Lewis songs, but I I don't think I would go see them. Um,
Well, I mean,
but like
if you're not,
I
if
love like Hall and Oates. My mom loved Hall
Hall
and
and Oates
Oates.
is good.
I hear Hall and Oates, and I
He
will
was
stop and I'm gonna listen to it. My mom loved with Rick Astley.
Ashley, Ashley.
Um, and he came out right before she passed away. And
Yeah.
my ex had shot me over, and she's like, "Hey, he's playing at St. Andrews." And I was like, "Shit, dude! Like, I love St. Andrews Hall. Like, I've seen so many punk shows there. It's the best place that I've ever seen."
Mhm.
And I'm like, "Shit, dude! I'll go see him, even if I have to go by myself." And I click it. It was like $100 and some for the tickets. I'm like, I don't like him that much. He had 2 songs that I know. Like, they were like $25, $30. I might go, and because my mom loved him.
Hall and
100
Oates.
something bucks. I ain't paying.
Daryl Hall lives in. Oh, I don't know if he still does, but he lived in Connecticut,
Okay.
and he has a studio there. And yeah, he had a channel. I don't know if he still probably still does. I was probably still on it. There's a channel here on YouTube. And he brings in guests, and they cover his songs. And
Oh wow.
there's some really good guests, and it sounds really good. And I'm like, you look at the band, and he's got like the guys from, obviously the guys that were in the band, except for Oates, he's not there. I think
Yeah,
they had a falling out.
yeah. It's funny that he'd have people come in and cover his songs, but now they have a lawsuit because Oates was singing songs that he wasn't supposed to.
Well, it's kind of like Queensryche, right? Like the band and the lead singer split up, and they both are Queensryche, and they have like a lawsuit against each other. It's nuts.
Well, I can say this. I know when Queensryche first split up. Oh no, I'm thinking Sacred Reich. Sorry,
Yeah,
Queensryche was more of a hair band.
metal band.
What? I'm
They
thinking.
kind of they were like called them
Yeah.
like the metal Pink Floyd because that's what they were doing. That's some good stuff. Empire was a great. I think Empire was probably the pinnacle of their stuff.
All right, you need to go outside that bad. Can you go ask the kid over there? Hold on, I got. Let me yell for my son here.
No problem.
Man, I let him out. Like, I swear I don't get it. Like, he'll sit here. He sits here all day, not having to go out. But man, he sees me on stream and he's like, "Hey, hey, oh, hey! Does everyone know that I'm here? Does everyone?"
You should get a roaming cam. And
That's
put
what
it on
everyone
him.
says, but I don't think like he doesn't sit in one spot.
I'll just attach it to his little collar, so everyone
Yeah, I
can
don't
see
want
where he
people.
is.
I don't want people
Oh,
seeing my
they'll see your house. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
I know. They'll be like, "You really do have toys everywhere." I'm like, I do. Like, I'm a single guy. I can decorate any way that I want.
I got stuff everywhere in
That's
here.
dude. My house is. I have a small townhouse,
Yeah.
but again, I'm single. I can decorate any way I want. So the living room is where all the classified stuff is. The problem is doing reviews and all the stuff that I do. I take figures down,
You don't put
and
it back.
I do. Well, they don't always go back right away.
Yeah,
And then
they
next
just
thing you have 10 figures down and you're like, or then you get new ones and you're like, where do I fit this one in at? That's why some of them will sit back here for so long. And then you get used to them back here and you're like, I don't want to put them in the display because I like messing around with that one. You need to rotate them more. Like these are first world problems.
right.
Okay, so you graduate high school. Did you graduate?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I got blindsided by that one, by that question once too.
Yeah, I graduated.
So, did you go into college or did you go right into the workforce?
I was gonna go to Boston Art School, but art college, but funds and money just didn't work out right, so I just went to work.
All right.
I've been working ever since.
Yeah, you and me both, man.
It's life.
So what did you start doing when you went into the workforce? Do you mind me asking?
Well, first is like whatever job you can find because I didn't have a vehicle, so I was working at like a supermarket, and gradually was working in retail for a few years, and met a buddy, work colleague that I'd been working with. Was like, hey man, I'm working this. He's looking for help in this warehouse job, like shipping job, and then got his shipping job with this small company, and just been doing stuff like that ever since.
Okay. So is that what you do now too?
Well, it's kind of morphed into something else now.
Okay.
It's like I'm like a jack of all trades now.
All right. So you go into the workforce. Do you start collecting? Because I don't ever say that as kids we were collecting. I think we were all playing with toys. But do you get it? Like, did you start collecting? So let me you said your mom and your stepdad got a divorce.
Yeah.
Now, do you still talk to your stepdad at all?
Oh, he passed away.
Okay. Did you before?
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't mind me asking.
Occasionally when I saw him.
Okay, because you obviously have brothers and sisters.
Yeah. So it was like when they got a divorce, which was like in the late 80s. Like once that happened, this is gonna sound mean, right? It's gonna sound mean, but because I wasn't his kid, I wasn't his problem, right? So it was more about his kids, right? And whatever. It's like no matter what, there was like, if there was any issue with custody or whatever, I was never part of that problem because I'm obviously not his kid. So like when he got the kids, he took my brother and sister, like we take them for the weekend or whatever, and I would never go with them. You know what I mean? Okay. So I wasn't part of the problem, but I would go see that family once in a while, like on Christmas or whatever, and stuff like that. So that wasn't ever a thing. Which I didn't really, I'm a teenager now. I don't really care, right? I'm just like, oh, I hate family. I hate everything. I hate the world, right?
No,
I just want to read my comic books and play G.I. Joes. Leave me alone, right?
No, and I get that because my oldest it's my ex's daughter.
Yeah,
and I raised her since she was 5 years old, and I was their first day of kindergarten, and I was there when she graduated.
Right.
And of course, her and I we have a great relationship. But at first, when we split up, she really took her mom's side, which is understandable,
Right.
And I told, we recently talked about it, and I had said to all my friends in my family, I was like, when she's ready, I don't need an apology from her or anything, because and once her mom came around to realizing that, probably everything I did was the wrong way. If she's listening, and once we started getting along again, then Emily started too. So I understand, because I had girls that I would go out on dates with or whatever, start talking to, and they'd be like, she's not really your daughter, and I'd be like, well, this is the last time I talked to you, because you don't raise someone for 12 years of their life, and just sorry, you're not. But at the same time, I know exactly. I mean, I know exactly what it's like when a decision would get made, and it was, and even sometimes when we were together, it was so apparent, like, you have no say in this. You're not her dad.
Exactly.
Like, even though it wasn't said, it was like completely. It was like, oh wow, well that's good. I only raise her and I pay for all this shit that for all of us.
Yeah.
It wasn't always like that, but there would come certain things, when it would get there. So I understand, and I even understand it from your point of view, and that's hard.
Well,
you're a teenager, so you're like,
Well, I should say though, I mean, I did get G.I. Joes and stuff. I mean, my first job was an actual paper route, right?
Okay.
I'd been doing since like I was like 8, and did it for like I think 4 or 5 years, right? And like so, I knew the neighborhood, but when they divorced, it was just like he's gone, and they weren't getting along for a while. So for me, it was like a relief he's not in the house now. Everything's copacetic, but you don't see it from the parent view because you're just a kid or a young teenager. You don't know money issues and all that stuff, and you're not thinking about that stuff. You're just thinking like, all right, the problem's out of the house now. We can do whatever. But my mom, like a few years after that, she just met somebody else, and then they ended up getting married, and we moved. From there, we moved to a small town, which like for me was just it seemed kind of worse because I didn't know anybody in that town, right? I went to school, make a couple of acquaintances, but like for like 2-3 years, I didn't know anybody, and I would just keep to myself. Because I'm at that age where I'm like, like I don't want to say rebellious because I wasn't rebellious. I was just like, closed off from the world, I guess.
No, I understand that. Like, I understand that tremendously.
Yeah.
I always say, like, I mean, people, they kind of roll their eyes when I say I was like the perfect kid, and they roll their eyes. I'm like, you understand? Like, my mom died, and my dad had so many other things to worry about, like my little sister. There was no reason for me to put more issues on his plate.
Exactly.
So I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, I didn't do drugs. I was skateboarded.
Yeah.
I went to shows. My dad knew my friends. He knew the people we grew up with that drank and did drugs, and knew that I wasn't, not that I never saw them or hung out with them, but he knew I wasn't hanging out with them.
Yeah.
So like I fully understand that. Like,
Yeah.
kind of closed off, and you're like, but this is who I want to be. This is what I want to do. That's why I don't regret anything.
Yeah.
I was like,
I was in the back of the bus listening to like Pearl Jam on his headphones that nobody wanted to talk to because never took the headphones off, so you couldn't talk to me, right? I had some people try to talk to me, but I just look at them and still covered like, I don't want to talk to you. Just look out the window.
that's what I try and do at the gym when I go. It's like, do you see these? I don't want to talk to you.
Exactly right.
Because I don't never stop talking.
It was the funny thing is I transferred. I was like a junior. It's freshman, sophomore, or is it freshman, junior? It's freshman, sophomore, right? Then junior, then senior. That all goes in high school? That's been such a long time. Anyways, my second year of high school, I moved. I transferred because that's when we moved. Right. When I went into school, they were like I don't want to call them the punk kids, but like the metal kids. You just know them. They're smoking pot now. They're smoking pot, cigarettes, and stuff like that. When I walked into school, I was wearing. Don't ask me why. I was going to Army Navy stores to get my clothes, so I was wearing like Army pants, jeans, whatever, and I had like grease mark jeans because I was in I was working in the auto shop right at school, and I had this. Like again, don't ask me why. I had this like overcoat. I got it at the Army Navy store. It was like a World War I overcoat.
Okay.
It's got the big brass buttons and stuff, and like the bottom would flare out, and the top was a little tight. Don't ask me why. I don't know why I'm wearing this. I had combat boots on. I walk in. I look like I just walked out of 21 Jump Street. The kids thought it was a narc. They thought I was a narc. So I get in trouble in history class on my first week because I'm chewing gum in class, right? She's like, "You're not supposed to chew gum in here." I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Just spit it out. You have detention." I'm like, "For what?" I didn't know. It's like first day of school or whatever. So I'm sitting in detention class and they're passing notes around me. And then one kid just looks at me and goes, "Hey, you're a narc, right?" I'm like, "You want to see my badge?" Really? Oh, this is crazy. I'm like, dude, this is like Westboro High. This isn't even a high school.
Now, did somebody tell you that you look like someone out of 21 Jump Street, or later on in life did you go, "Oh shit, I look like Johnny Depp"?
Well, I didn't. I mean, I don't look like Johnny Depp, but I just look like I walked out at a show. Apparently, no, I had you wear the boots like you didn't really tie them so they can clank on the ground.
Yes.
Loose, and then you tuck the cuff into the boot so they're sticking out like Judd Nelson from what's that movie?
Yeah. Well, I think that's what was right. Was it Saturday? Did you spill paint in the garage?
Oh, it was just nuts. And then just doing that and drawing and study period and all that stuff was basically high school there. Just completely and utterly different from like where I came from. I came from the city. I'm in a small town now. I'm going to like a preppy school. Everybody's like, wearing Ralph Lauren stuff, and I'm there, greasy flannel. This is crazy.
I had a chain wallet.
Yeah, me too.
My senior year, and I would always come in late because we had these students that came from other schools. So I had a 2-hour block of radio and TV.
Yeah.
We had a 2-hour block, and the kids that came from the other school, they didn't get there right away. They got there like 20 minutes late from the bus.
Yeah.
So we really couldn't start. And one day I come walking in, and there was like this long hallway to get into it. And everyone's laughing. I'm like, what the hell's so funny? And they're like, well, you and Dan always come in late. And we can tell which one of you it is by the sound of your chains, because his is this really long chain and it makes a different noise. So we were betting which one of you it was.
I had one that I think hung down like mid thigh.
Yeah, no, mine was always the regular biker
Yeah.
chain wallet. And again, I got into them after everyone else. I hated them. I've always been that anti-establishment guy. Like, if it's what everyone is doing, even in the skate world, I didn't like doing it. So when everyone in 89, 90 was wearing chain wallets because of Matt Hensley, I hated it. Then come like 93, I'm like, I want a chain wallet because I actually used it because it made sense. You never forgot it. And I wore one for the longest time. I would even just drop the chain into the back of my into the back pocket, so it wouldn't bounce, it wouldn't rattle around.
That was usually the sign when you were getting tired of it. Was when you started tucking into your pocket.
But you're like, I don't want to buy a new wallet.
I mean, I was like, I don't want to say I was like a trend follower, but like some trends I wanted, like they had like, I think in the late 80s they had like the sneakers with the pumps in them.
The pumps. I had Reebok pumps. Yeah,
I had Reebok pumps. I was like, I need Reebok pumps. So I was like, just asking my mom, can I get some Reebok pumps, new sneakers and stuff? And we went to this huge department store. I forget the name of it, but it was some like mass. Everybody would go. They would always have like sales, and they would have like mainstream products like Nike and all that stuff. And found the Reebok pumps there, but I didn't want this cheesy ass white pair with like green camouflage, neon green camouflage around the tip. And I was like, they're Reebok pumps. I want those. Let me get them. I'm like, I don't even play basketball.
The original ones had a pump that you'd plug it in and pump.
Yeah.
And then after that, they made it with a little basketball and you would pump it up.
Yeah. That's the one I had.
But the original ones, because my friend had them and he played basketball. They had little, like you would connect the pump to it and then you would actually pump it up. But
so
those ones would pump the whole shoe up, where like the ones you're talking about, the ones I had,
they just right around the ankle.
Yeah. But these ones pump the whole thing around.
So I had. It's funny. I have this like long-standing battle when I was in school with like picture day with my mom. Like I would never tell my mom it was picture day, so I'd wear whatever I want. Because she'd always make me wear these like stupid clothes, right? So like a few of them I got away with. She she found out which ones, but then sometimes she would know. So I was like, I have a picture like of me in grade school. I'm wearing like this like a shirt that says match ball, which is like a regular tee. I wore it like every day. So it was a beat up shirt. She got mad when she saw that. But like I think it was my junior year in school. It was like picture day, and I didn't tell her that it was picture day. So I just got done painting the house because we were living in a house. I threw on, I don't even know why. I didn't even like baseball. I had a White Sox jersey. I put that on. I had this like San Francisco 49er hat backwards. I had these ripped jeans and I put the pumps, and I went to the photo place and got my pictures, and they're like, look at me. This is what you want to wear? This is what I'm wearing. And she saw him. Oh man, she gave me this look. Oh man.
My 8th grade year, my picture is me with like the Tony Hawk haircut, with my bangs hanging down across half my face.
I wish I could grow my hair out.
And there was a girl that did it the year before. She lived in the court next to me, and I thought it looked awesome, so I did it.
Yeah.
My dad was so pissed. Now it's funny because you'll see it on Facebook. People will post it. My sister will post it from time to time. People will try and make fun of it. I'm like, do you think I'm not proud of that? I am so proud of that. And then we went going into high school. I didn't get a yearbook my senior year or my freshman year. My dad was pissed that I didn't get it. My sophomore year, I didn't. It was a sophomore? No, it was my junior year. I didn't take my picture. I happened to miss I happened to be absent the day that they did the original, and then I would happen to be absent like the next makeup, and then I was like, I wonder if they'll never call me. So they didn't. So they never called me. So I'm not in the yearbook at all.
Oh,
So, and that's what I wanted. And my
you
dad
didn't
was
want to
pissed
be?
about that. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, because now I want to see if I could avoid it. Like I just
That
want to
was
see like if they would leave me, like if they would stop bothering me. And so everyone signs the yearbook. Every yearbook that I signed, I would go to where I'm supposed to be, and I'd write my name in it. So there are people now that are going back to the yearbooks and like, the
it's not
fuck
even
is
there.
Lawrence Frontera? I probably wrote a Larry Frontera, to be honest.
Yeah. I don't know. That was the last time I got away with it. The next year, I think it was senior picture. She made sure that I was going to dress properly.
Yeah, senior year I didn't. Yeah, my dad was like, and that
Yeah.
didn't bother me. But
Yeah.
anyway, so you go into the workforce now. Are you collecting anything? Because I know we jumped back because
I guess. I think like I had given all my Joes, basically all my stuff, like cars, that whatever I had left at that age, like when I was just getting out of high school, I gave to my little brother, and now that stuff is since like been thrown away, right, by his other stepmom. And like as I get older, like in the mid 90s, I think I was mostly into like movies, and like we were watching like Japanese animation, like the
okay,
early stuff. Like we'd be watching crazy stuff like the Guyver and stuff like that, and we would go down to the store in one of the malls, when had indoor malls still. We still kind of do, but actually that mall's still there. It's just been expanded. We'd go to the store. I think it was called like Suncoast Video, and we would just like, every week we'd buy like a new anime and go back and watch it. So we'd have like this anime collection. But I think the thing I was collecting would be anime. We didn't buy it all the time, but you know what I mean.
yeah,
But that and going to the movies a lot was pretty much what we did, like in that time period. We'd go every weekend. We'd go to the movies. We'd go shoot pool,
okay.
for the rest of the night, and go get like breakfast and like 3 o'clock in the morning, and then go home and sleep half the
Oh,
day.
those are some good days.
Right?
There's some a lot of those like it's 4 o'clock in the morning, and there were still places that were open 24
Yeah,
hours,
yeah.
and you'd go get breakfast or man.
We had a couple of different places. Like I think the pool hall would close at like midnight, but we were friends with the guy who owned it, and he would
Okay,
stay open till like he would let you stay until like 2 in the morning, like 1:32 in the morning, before like the cops would be like, "Hey, you still got people in there, right?" Then we would go to like either we would go to a place called Bigford's, right,
okay,
or the International House of Pancake IHOP,
yep.
or then there was this burger place called Harry's, and we would go in there, and like depending on like how busy that place was is where you decided whether you're going to go to the other two, right? And if you got into Harry's, you were cool because it's a small joint, right? It's a small place. You get like a burger or whatever, and just sitting there till like an hour and a half. They didn't give a crap, right?
Yeah.
And then you get home, you just stroll home at like 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, go to sleep all day, and then you got to get up because I got to go to work on Sunday. It's girls nuts.
I feel like I mean, I did a lot of skateboarding, but like the same concept. Like I was skating when a lot of my friends had stopped, and then you
Yeah,
get done sometimes at like midnight or whatever, and then I'd meet up with them, and we'd end up at a couple of the places that were either 24 hours, or if we went to concerts, you get
yeah,
out of the show and it's like 1 o'clock in the morning, and there was a lot of Denny's, but
yeah.
Denny's was like the last option.
Yeah, like the
They
closest, the
weren't too
closest
pleasant there.
Denny's. Yeah, the closest Denny's to us was like it was too far away. Like we
Okay,
had, we had, like right in the town that we were in, we had a Bigford's in that Harry's place, and then like a couple towns like down was an IHOP, and then Phil
I got
Collins.
I got to mention something about this. So Zazo says I like Huey Lewis in the news, but I really love Phil Collins. Okay, so my son, he swears like crazy around me. It drives me nuts. My daughter, she's 15, almost 16.
Mhm.
She'll swear at times, but she tries not to because she knows I don't like hearing it.
Right.
Except when Phil Collins comes on, she has the right to say "fucking Phil Collins."
Why? What's wrong with Phil Collins?
Okay, I like Phil Collins, but
She doesn't like Phil Collins?
no, she doesn't even like. She didn't even know why I let it. I would just say fucking Phil Collins, because we would listen to all this Disney music at dinner.
Mhm.
Hey, so and so. I don't want to say I don't want to say the word of those. Play Disney music, right? And then play. You start realizing how many movies Phil Collins, or how many Disney movies Phil Collins did. It seemed like for the longest time he was the only person. The Lion King, Brother Bear, like you can just go down the list of fucking Phil Collins. So anytime he comes on, and I get up, I'll get upset like if she doesn't notice.
Just because because it's Disney, Phil Collins.
Well,
I
no, it was
like I
just like
like
he just again I like it, but it was just like there was so many. It seemed like he was the only person doing Disney like music for the longest time. So
me.
I
I
don't
could.
know.
I
Somewhere along the lines, fucking Phil Collins started, and
I
I
could
go, you can say that.
I could listen to like Against All Odds like over and over. I've done it like plenty of times. Like driving home, I have like a 45-minute to like 50-minute ride home, and like Against All Odds would come on, and I'll just like keep replaying it over and over because it's a great song. Or like I wish it would rain down on me with Eric Clapton. I'm like, oh man, it's just over and over again. Everybody does it, and then you sing it to the steering wheel.
Zazel, who doesn't love Whitney?
Whitney Houston.
It's funny. People get mad every year on that anniversary. I'm like, she has been drug free for this many years, and people are like, she's dead. I'm like, I know she's been drug free. It's not my fault.
Actually, I believe their kids went to the town I live in. They went to the high school here. Remember an incident happening with Bobby Brown.
Aren't like two of them dead?
I don't know.
Her
I don't
daughter.
really follow the family. I don't really follow the family, but
Dude,
I remember there being when my
Brown.
brother was in high school. There was an incident with incident going on there with when Bobby Brown showed up at the school or something. I don't know.
Did he come in singing?
I have no idea. Probably.
I'd
be like, you do one of your songs, please. Can you do that song from Ghostbusters?
I know he was part of Belle Biv DeVoe, right? Now you know.
No. The Belle Biv DeVoe was part of the group that he was in. I think at New Edition.
That's what I mean. He was in Belle Biv DeVoe.
He wasn't in Belle Biv DeVoe. No.
He wasn't.
No, I think Belle Biv DeVoe was in New Edition, and they broke off and they did that band. He went on his own. Don't you remember? He did the song for Ghostbusters too.
Oh yes, he did. Bobby is from that area. All of New Edition is. Yeah. All right. So I know the name New Edition. I couldn't tell you a damn thing. I only know Belle Biv DeVoe because Belle Biv DeVoe. Now you know. Like that was.
That girl is poison.
Okay, I know that song. But wait, now is that?
That's Belle Biv DeVoe. I had that CD, unfortunately. I don't know why. Somehow I got it. Somebody gave it to me. Like I got my first CD player. I got this cool ass stereo. Got my first CD player, and somebody bought me like some CDs. I got like the Damn Yankees, Belle Biv DeVoe, and I want to say AC/DC Razor's Edge. I want to say that album.
Oh wait a minute, Ronnie Devo, Ricky Bell, and Michael Bevins. I had no idea. I didn't know that was their names.
We got a fan of Belle Biv DeVoe here. Look.
Okay.
All right, Clint.
If you guys had Belle Biv DeVoe or Bobby Brown on your bingo card, on Punk's bingo card, you may have just won.
Wow. I didn't think that was going to come up in this conversation.
Yeah. You could have gone. You could have gone through every single punk band and had that, and there would have been a better chance that one of those bands would have one of the most off-the-wall punk bands that only I would know. And yet here we are talking Bobby Brown, Belle Biv DeVoe, Whitney Houston, fucking Phil Collins.
Thanks, Hazel.
All right, so you guys are buying these anime stuff, anime movies.
Well, that and like sci-fi stuff, okay. Watch a lot of Star Trek.
So you're collecting, but it sounds like you didn't even realize you're collecting.
Well, like I guess movies, like we would get together and watch a lot of like Next Gen because it was on reruns and stuff like that. At one point, I was like the library, like the librarian for Next Gen. Be like, the show would start or like just turn on TV, be on it, and my friend Lisa would go, "Hey Chris, which one are we watching?" Like look at it. Oh yeah, this is the one where Data thinks he's Sherlock Holmes and something like that.
Clint
Yeah.
Jorgensen says New Edition is a top 3 band for me, so I will stop talking now.
Hey, that's all right.
Hey, shame. No shame in what I love.
Hey, I
love
like that. I like that. I think she's from Norway or Sweden. That artist known as Robin came out like in the early '90s. Yeah, she's got a good voice. She's cool.
I have no idea. I honestly did not listen to FM radio.
Really?
From probably 93 on.
Well,
the
FM
only
radio.
reason why I know anything that's on now is
Yeah.
because of my kids and my ex. In
So-
my car, I have the only FM station that I have programmed is the sports radio station. And
So-
every new car that I've had has been like that.
I grew up listening to top 40 stuff, right? Casey Kasem's top 40. I tuned into like a Rhode Island radio station because I could get it on my little radio, excuse me. And then as the 90s rolled in, I only listened to this one station because they would play like 80s music on Friday night. And then AAF up here was like the rock station, right? And then as I get older, I don't listen to the radio anymore. I just listen to whatever playlist is on my phone. And my radio station that I've tuned into my car is AM news radio, so I can hear the traffic in the morning when I'm driving to work.
All right, quickly. Hold on. Let me just play this really quick.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
Zazo's Clubhouse with the $5 super chat for the Phil Collins therapy fund.
Come on, man. Oh man.
Dude, okay.
mid 80s Phil Collins is just insane.
I like Phil Collins' music. I like Billy Joel. I think Billy Joel is amazing. All right. I know the guy can drive into houses. All right.
But he can sing. He can sing. It sounds good.
And play a piano.
Yeah.
And I know when I was listening to he had his own radio station, XM. When I had XM, they would have their own radio stations. And he would tell stories. And it was Uptown Girl.
Yeah.
And he said Uptown Girl is just it's an old 60s song, just reversed.
No, really?
Where, fuck, what the hell? I forget the. So Uptown Girl is it's reversed, the music and everything. He said if you hear the music and he starts playing, he starts like humming it, and you hear it, and it has to do with Down on the Boondocks, I think.
Down in the Boondocks?
Yeah. I think that's what it is. Because Down on the Boondocks.
I'm looking it up.
Yeah. Because it's the reverse of it, where he took that.
Oh, it's Uptown Girl's inspired by the music of Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. Their hit song Ragdoll.
Ragdoll, okay. But he hums the tune, and he's like, so this is Ragdoll, and then this is, and he's like, it's the same, and no one's ever noticed.
Oh, man, that video had Chrissy Brinkley in it. Oh my god. Woo. What a woman.
Once again, proving that if you have money, you can pull hot girls.
Have you ever seen Billy Joel?
No.
Me and the family saw him when he went on tour with Elton John at Gillette Stadium. It was one hell of a show.
I have never. The only big bands that I have ever seen in arenas would be Fall Out Boy, because I took my daughter to go see Fall Out Boy.
That's it?
What?
That's it? You seen anywhere else?
Oh, no. I've seen lots of bands. But I don't go to arenas. Like, I go to small clubs. Like, I am a punk rock club guy. So I took her to see Tegan and Sarah and Fun
Mhm.
at this amphitheater, which was so much fun. Like her and I just had a blast. Yeah, total blast. We actually just brought it up because it's on the amphitheater. It's on this big hill that goes down, and we were in the lawn, and there were these fat girls dancing, and we're like, man, when that one falls, she's gonna take so many.
That's just wrong.
I know.
You
Listen,
saw,
I'm going to hell. I'm going to hell. All right, all my friends are going to be there, so I got to make sure I get there.
we have a place. We have a place here. I forget. They've changed the name so many times. It's kind of like that. It's what the hell was it? We used to call it Great Woods, and I've seen a lot of shows there. I saw like the band live there
Okay.
a couple of times. I went and saw an 80s Def Leppard, Poison, and I want to say who opened up for them. I want to say Lita Ford opened up for them. I don't know if you know who those guys are. Yeah. And that was a great show. And it's set up the same way because you sit up in the pavilion area, which is you're up high. You know, there's like benches and stuff, and then there's grass, and then there's a seating, and it's all covered.
Yeah, that's
There, right?
exactly.
And you're looking down. And I think it was. I want to say. Did I see Dave Matthews there? I want to say I saw Dave Matthews there. And we were sitting up in the back because we got the cheap seats, right? We look over on this side, and everybody's like moved up. They're trying to see the band, right? We look over, and there's a couple there, and they're having sex on the benches, like right there. And I'm like, Jesus, this is crazy. This is nuts.
SCS dot. Hell, Michigan is not that close to me. I mean, I can make it there, but I've never actually been to Hell, Michigan. But
Oh, Michigan.
yeah, Hell, Michigan is. They have like a run through Hell. It's really small.
What do you mean, like a run through hell?
So I don't think I've ever been there. What was that?
What's a run through hell? Like run through the town?
Yeah, it's a race. It's a really small. So yeah, so they do. I think it's a run through Hell.
Is it like one of those like Spartan races?
No, it's just a regular race. Just
Marathon?
like regular,
Yeah.
old people running. My dad was a runner. He ran marathons. I never understood. I will never understand running. It seems like the no. Ohio is hell. All right. Yeah, understand. There's heaven and there's hell, and then
there's Ohio.
Really bad people end up going to Ohio.
I thought they went to Florida.
No, because Florida has Disney World and SeaWorld and stuff. In Miami. And they have
Miami.
You know, I spent a couple of days in Miami for work, and this was I've been at my job for 23 years, so probably 25, 26 years ago. Man, back then I can say that it was the little bit of I saw of it was like, yeah. I could vacation down here. Yet I never have.
All I want to do on my bucket list is go down to Florida, rent a black Daytona Ferrari, and just cruise the streets of Miami playing Phil Collins. Fucking Phil Collins. That's all I want to do.
You're never going to hear Phil Collins again and not say fucking Phil Collins. When he comes on, you're going to go fucking Phil Collins. And then
he's on my playlist a lot.
Yeah, but then you have to ask yourself, is this Phil Collins or is it, what was the other band?
Genesis?
Genesis. They fucking sound the exact same.
Well, I mean, it's just an added flavor to Phil Collins's career.
Well, yeah, it's like he was.
Well, then you
got
Mike and the Mechanics too, which sounds like Genesis, just a different dude singing.
Yeah, but the lead singer changes everything. It's like Wham.
Yeah.
Wait, that's George Michael, not Wham. It's the same fucking goddamn thing. All right. Sorry. Now I'm getting excited. You didn't think you hear George Michael today. You're like, this might be one of the shorter ones. Like,
how pissed you got to be if you're the other guy in Wham, and George Michael puts out that song that's like the biggest song he's ever done, What is it? Never Gonna Dance Again, that song? You know that song? I forget what the name of it is. Is it Never Gonna
Probably
Dance
about
Again?
as pissed as Marty Jannetty was when
Right?
he watched
Because
Shawn Michaels become the greatest wrestler
he
ever.
wrote that song while he was in while he was in Wham, and he was going to put it on their album. He said, "No, this is too good for this band." That's what he said.
Careless Whisper. Is that
Careless Whisper, thank you. Yeah, that song, which is a great tune. I mean, it's a great song.
is Zazel just have? Is he like a fucking DJ? Is he like sitting in the DJ booth right now pulling shit out?
Ziesel's like me, man. We like the same type of music. We just like all over the place.
I know, but he's like nailing everything. Like he's
It's called punk. It's called technology.
okay. There's. I try not to look at my phone when I'm on.
I use it like if I'm at loss and trying to find something. That's what I do. I Google search it real quick, so I can tell you that I can tell you that it's that Ragdoll song that
Yeah,
Uptown Girls based off of.
and I only know that because he talked about it. So it wasn't like it wasn't a rumor. He was because he was breaking down like certain songs, and that was one of them. And when he hummed when he hummed the chorus or the sound, he was like, I just changed it a little, and he's like, nobody's ever realized it. I'm like,
It's
man,
crazy.
you fooled everyone for that. And
I'm gonna
both those songs
look
are
up.
pretty popular.
I'm gonna look up. I'm gonna listen to Ragdoll and see if I hear it. And I'm gonna go, you son of a bitch, you. Billy Joel,
I kind of remember listening. I was like, I don't really hear it until, like. But if someone's telling you that, hey, I pretty much just stole this, what a concept. Somebody telling you when they steal stuff rather than act like their stuff's original.
I mean, it's still a great song.
I agree. I love Billy Joel.
Billy Joel's one heck of a cool guy.
And he pulls some hot tail.
Yeah,
and I know all he can do now is sit at a piano, and he looks like unmasked Darth Vader.
He didn't move so good on his arm.
Have you seen that meme?
No.
There's a meme that shows like him sitting at a piano now, and then they show him like next to like Darth Vader when he's after Luke's taking the mask off.
Yeah.
They look the same. It's bad.
Poor Billy Joel. Poor Billy Joel.
Whoa.
Well, you heard about Phil Collins though, right? Like
what?
Drumming all those years has like screwed up his entire body. Hey, what's up, Largo?
No, I've never.
You didn't hear about that? He just put out like a book or something like that.
I ain't feeling sorry for him.
Oh, come on, man. It's Phil Collins.
It's fucking Phil Collins, all right? How bad can it be, right? I think he's still doing quite all right.
Yeah, he's doing.
He's been drumming all those years. Like, really, do we want to pull out the X-ray machines and see what bodybuilding and skateboarding has done to my body?
You compare your woes to his woes.
Like I said, if there's an X-ray machine for arthritis, I think I'm gonna light up.
Yeah, I'm not.
I think a lot of us are, though. It's not just me. I mean, anyway,
I got some of that in my right ankle. Apparently,
I think
arthritis.
I just keep moving, just keep moving, and thinking, hey, you know what? I think we all go downhill when we stop doing anything.
It's true enough.
Phil's son was drumming on his tours. Is they still following him?
Oh, he loves Phil Collins, man.
Okay,
that's his jam right there.
All right, well, and now he's never gonna hear a Phil Collins song and not say fucking Phil Collins. Just remember that, man. Every time, fucking Phil Collins. Matter of fact, that should be your next live stream. The fucking Phil Collins live stream.
We just talk about Phil Collins all night.
I can, if you want, I could probably get my daughter to say fucking Phil Collins, and I can send it over to you, and you can use it as a drop. All right, so you're going into your 20s or whatever. Do you get married? Do you meet anyone? Do you have kids?
No, I was like off and on like dating people. and that's about it, really. I mean, my longest relationship was probably I met somebody like in the mid 2000s, and we were together for quite a while. And then it just ended. Never got married. No kids.
Don't worry, I didn't get married either, and I'm glad. I mean, I really wish I would have.
Well, I mean, I look back on it, and it's like, well, maybe I should have, like, maybe, you know, it's now it's all going to just be like regret. If I look back, no kids, no marriage. I mean, I still got some time, but you know, that door's closing pretty quick.
Kids are for young people.
Yeah.
Hey, do you? All I know is when I see a friend of mine that is in their 50s announcing they're having kids, the first thing that I say is, better you
Good
than me. Then I say, congratulations. Better you than me. Congratulations.
Well, I'm not in danger of that happening anytime soon. So
Just
that's
like
cool.
anytime I see someone on Facebook that will announce their engagement, hey, we're getting married or whatever, I always write, congratulations with a question mark. Congrats.
Well, I mean, honestly, that can all change if you meet the right person.
I agree.
Yeah. It's just
I've been
meeting that
single
right
for almost
person.
9 years. I've been single for almost 9 years now. So
I've been single for about 4 or 5 years now.
I mean, I've dated a couple people. I haven't dated anyone in over 3 years. It's
Me
crazy.
neither.
And I don't
Yeah.
even. I have toys. I have a sad life.
I haven't really met anybody that, like, woos me in a way.
That's just it. Matthew says we had our kid in our 40s, 50s. I couldn't imagine. No, because the reason why I say they're for young kids is, man, you come home from work or wherever and you're tired, and as we get older, obviously we know we're more tired.
Yeah.
Kids don't care. They want to jump on you.
Yeah.
They don't care that your knees are shot. They don't realize that when you fall down, like, you're not getting down, you've fallen down. You need the life lock. I've fallen. I can't get up.
I'm not getting that fucking thing no matter what anybody tells me. I might be old, but I don't feel old. So
No, that's why we have Alexis. So we can just yell for her to call 911.
I have Google. He's always listening.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. We all have something that somebody is listening.
Yeah.
And we know because every time we go on Facebook or Instagram, we're like, oh, hey, look, here's the ad for what I just looked up or what I was just talking to Tony about. That's shocking how that happens.
I was talking about Pintos the other day and it popped up.
All right. So you obviously you don't get married. You've had girlfriends on and off, it sounds like.
Yeah.
When do you start getting into collecting? Because I've never really talked to you about what you collect.
So it was like, I want to say like 2017, 18. Just got out of that long relationship. It ended pretty sourly, I guess. Right? I didn't do certain things, but that's not really important. And I was
that's not what she said.
Well, yeah, she wasn't really happy with me because we didn't get married and have kids and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, nonetheless, I was kind of like down in the dumps, right? I wasn't feeling too good about myself and all that stuff, and I was just surfing YouTube, trying to find something, just watching aimless stuff, and I actually came across Hooded Cobra Commander review on GI Joe stuff. And I started thinking back about when I used to play Joes, and the fun times I had with GI Joes and hanging out with my friends and stuff, and carefree, stuff. So I started like looking at GI Joes on the market, right? And I started buying the anniversary stuff that came out in the 2000s because it was cheap, right? It wasn't expensive. But all I was doing was I was just leaving them on the shelf because I got them because they're GI Joes, but they're not the GI Joes that I remember. Like, they look like them. And then I went to the store and I found some vintage Joes and I bought some vintage Joes and I was like, oh, I started playing with them. I brought them home, playing. and stuff. And then I just started collecting GI Joe A-Raw stuff, like strictly, and that's what I've been collecting since about like mid 2018, 19, around there. Started collecting that like hardcore, and I was just buying. It didn't, to me, the price didn't matter. I was just buying them, right? And then I wasn't like, I'm not like one of those collectors that need to get every single one. It's like the ones that I think are cool, which is cool because what I don't think is cool today, I might think is cool tomorrow. And then when Classifieds came out, I started collecting those because, this new G.I. Joe, I want to support it. But after about a year and a half, I was like, this is too big. I'm not really feeling the connection to them as I do with the AROS stuff. So I just get like occasional ones that I like. You know what I mean? Like I have a few back here, like Duke, Scarlet, and Quarrel, and a couple of figures there, and there's some down there. Most of the stuff that I had bought or I put away, wrapped them up and put them away because it's too much to display. And through that, like while I was in the relationship, I started collecting Godzilla stuff. I was buying like figures and stuff like that, but nothing like insane. It wasn't insane amount of stuff. Legos were still part of my life. It wasn't as much like in my 20s and 30s and stuff, but like as I got a little older, I started getting back into Legos and stuff, and now it's just like Legos, Joes, and Godzilla basically. That's what.
Right. So you collect. So what exactly do you collect? Just
like the main thing that I collect is GI Joe era.
Okay.
That's what I collect.
The O-rings.
Yeah, O-ring stuff. I will like occasional like Godzilla. If it strikes my fancy, I'll go buy it. It's like one of the side collections, a side hustle.
Okay.
And then this random things like Legos, certain sets. Like I'll get one for Christmas. Like I went out and bought the Space Lego set, the Galaxy Explorer set that they came out a few years ago, the huge one. I bought that because I want it. And now the rumor mill is that the Enterprise D from Generations is going to be coming out this year, supposedly, and I'm looking forward to that. But like the main collection the main thing I collect would be ARA, and it's just basically, again, I'm not a completist, so I don't need to get everything, and I have limited space, so I don't have a lot of vehicles, just mostly figures. That's basically what I collect.
So how many figures do you think you have with the Real American Hero line?
Oh, probably, I'll say around 200 maybe.
Okay. Do you have a Grand Slam? Because I need him.
I have Grand Slam with silver pads and the jump jet. That's what I bought. Yeah.
Okay. There's no way.
I'm not parting with it. That's the only one I have. Sorry. I'll keep an eye out for you though.
I don't have a regular Grand Slam.
You want the orange pad or the silver pad?
Oh, I want both, but I don't want to pay for them. No, because
I got them to steal at the store that I got. I don't think it was on sale for like $59.
Yeah, that's what wait, the silver padded one or the
silver padded one, yeah.
You got that one for $59? That one is fucking. When I looked on eBay for Grand Slam,
yeah,
like yesterday or the day before, most of the orange pad, he's around $59. The silver pad was going for the hundreds.
Yeah,
easily. So that's
it's like I was I don't like straight arm.
I don't either.
So all my OG 13s are swivel, right? Except for rock and roll. I'm just looking for a swivel arm rock and roll. I made it a point, and I had most of them except for, I think it was Zap, who's probably one of the hardest ones to get because if you want him like unbroken or whatever, and he's expensive too. One of the last ones I got was Snake Eyes, right? Commando Snake Eyes, but he was super expensive. So I found Stalker, the Palatoy Action Force Stalker, and he was cheap. I'm like, I'll just get that one because it's Snake Eyes. He's got the gun. He's got the satchel. It's just a different color satchel, but he's got the grin on his face. Just, whatever, right? And now, I did end up getting a regular Snake Eyes, and I got them for a decent price. But at the time when I got them at a decent price, I think it was around the same price that I paid for the stalker figure. The stalker figure was now like in the hundreds, as opposed to which I don't understand the whole market, the way it works, but it's just nuts.
Did you sell it, or are you keeping that one? Because you wanted
What
Snake Eyes. So did you keep the Stalker?
I gave the stalker away because somebody
Okay.
had gotten the Panther and they didn't have the stalker and they were looking for stalker. So I was like, "Hey, I got a stalker. You can have him if you want him."
Okay. Yeah, well, I thought that. Well, I have a swivel arm Snake Eyes, but I also have
Yeah,
straight arms.
yeah.
The straight arms are much better. Now, I started trying to pick stuff up again, and I already had a lot of my original stuff. I started picking it up, I think, right before Susan and I split up, and then going into our split up phase. Um, and I ended up, like my straight arm Scarlet is my original,
Yeah.
and then I have the straight arm Snake Eyes, but I also have the swivel arm. But he's all loose, so that's the reason why I keep
Yeah.
everything. But I don't like the straight arm because their thumbs you might as well snap them off because.
Right. Yeah. They
And
can't
now,
hold the guns, right?
yeah. So the breaker I bought not too long ago. Well, I guess it's been more than a few years, but he's straight arm. And I know that I had acquired a straight arm clutch. So I had
Mhm.
an complete clutch and vamp with straight arm, and then
Yeah.
that swivel arm one that I just did the review on that will come out this weekend. And I was like, man, I gotta start getting rid of some of this stuff because I don't need everything.
Mhm.
Why do I have two vamps? I'm never gonna have enough room to do what I want to do because I just don't have a house that big. And when I looked at it, I was like, fuck, I don't like the straight arm shit.
No,
So
I don't like
straight
it at
arm was the
all.
one that I got rid of, and he's worth more money. But
Yeah.
I didn't care. Like I'm like, I have the swivel arm. He's way better.
Mhm.
I mean, just aesthetically, they look better. Um, so I'm with you, and I don't think
Yeah.
I think a lot of people want to hold on to. Well, those were the original. I'm like, yeah, but it's the way they look, and most of us had swivel arm anyway because all the straight arms, the thumbs broke, so our parents had to rebuy them.
Yeah.
So most of them had those, had the 1.5 version anyway.
Right.
Uh, but I don't know anything about the Fun School, the Action Force. I mean, I can't say I don't know anything about it, but I don't, I'm not like, hey, I need to collect this stuff. I'm just trying to go through and
Right.
I want to get the first, probably through 80, 87, 88. Matter of
Yeah.
fact, I have almost every figure.
Yeah.
They're not all complete, but I went through the
Yeah.
book because I'm like, I want to do this series. I'm going to do 2 figures and a vehicle a week. And so I went through the book, and I'm like, man, I have almost every single one of these figures up to about 88, I think.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm not like I don't really. It doesn't matter if they're complete or not because when I was a kid, I probably lost half their stuff anyway. It's like I don't think anybody had their original weapon. I remember like whatever character I was using always got Frostbite's M16 with that massive scope. Always. It didn't matter who it was.
for some odd reason, I had like 5 or 6 of those guns. I
Right?
don't know how, because I didn't have that many snowcats. Like, where did I acquire all these M16s from?
I have 2 or 3 of them now, and I only have 2 Frostbites, and one didn't come with a weapon.
Yeah. Like, you
I
start
don't even know where I
acquiring
got them.
Grunt M16. I had so many of them.
Hmm.
I ended up, I don't know why. And maybe they used this backpack and other figures and during lots. I ended up with like 12 Baroness's backpacks.
I know they came in I think they came in one of the accessory packs.
No, this was
The
black. No, this was
was it
black.
black? Yeah, it was
Yeah.
just a
So
red one, I think. Yeah.
yeah. So I know that it came with another Baroness later on. That's almost the exact same. So maybe that's what. But I have all the. Oh, I got rid of a whole bunch of them because when I started selling like on eBay, like I started looking at the weapons and I started selling off lots of weapons. Like I already had like doubles or whatever to make
Right.
payoffs. Recoup it into what I'm doing. I would always try and throw like, oh, if I have all these backpacks of awareness, you put one or two in there, and people are going to need it because
Yeah.
obviously I have them all. Clearly, I
The
have
Baroness-
all of them.
The Baroness was an easy score for me. I bought one cheap. Like she had broken thumbs on both her hands,
Yeah.
right? And the reason why I bought that one is because I had bought another one that was cheap, like probably like a year before. I didn't realize it when I bought it, but she didn't have her hair, so she was bald, but she was
Oh.
perfectly fine. And the reason why it's selling cheap because she had no hair. When I got it, I was like, oh, damn it. And I went back and I read the description. I'm like, oh, shit, they did say it. I didn't read it. So I'm like, shit. So when I found out, I was like, I'll just take her arms and put it on there. And she's all set. So I got one for cheap.
That's the worst when you get something and you're like, son of a bitch. And then you go back.
Yeah, you
and
get
you're
all
like,
excited about it. And you're like,
they did say that. They did say that it was missing
did.
this.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just-
did. Like I bought a mauler. I walked into this store that I go to, and like that was my whale. That was the one I want. Like the first vehicle I wanted to get was a mauler, right? And I had already gotten like an all striker or whatnot, but that was the grail piece that I was looking for, and I knew that they were expensive, right? They weren't cheap, right? So I walked into the store and I'm looking at their Joe stuff, and I asked them if they got a mauler. And he's like, "We got a mauler, but it's another store. I can have it brought here if you want to look at it." I'm like, "All right." So I'll come back next week. I came back. I was supposed to go back on a Wednesday, but I went back on a Saturday. Right? I'm thinking, oh, if they got it, it's probably gone. Somebody probably bought it. Walked in there, and the mauler was sitting in the case. So I'm like, can I look at it? I look at it. Thing works perfectly. Moves one backward, turns. All that stuff works perfectly. Came with heavy metal. And I look at the price, $99. And I said, I will take it. It was only missing, the trailer, the tow hitch. It was missing one of the antennas and the two little smoke launchers on either side. That's all it was missing. And so I bought it. And I just bought like a repo set for the trailer hitch and the antennas and stuff. And I was all happy. And then I realized that heavy metal, right? The upper body was heavy metal, lower body was bazooka.
That's funny that you say that because so I had two maulers.
Mhm.
One worked. One I ripped the guts out so I could push it around.
Yeah,
Those
I
were
did the
both
same thing.
Those were both my original ones.
Mhm.
And then I acquired a
Mobat?
I think right after my ex and I split up, I bought from a buddy a lot from stuff that he had for
Okay.
$275. In this lot was a complete hovercraft,
Ooh.
a complete mauler missing only two flaps,
Yeah.
a complete hydrofoil,
Oh,
a complete not sky striker, skyhawk.
Rattler? Oh, Skyhawk. Yeah.
No, complete skyhawk, a complete tactical battle platform.
For 275?
Oh, there's more. A complete APC with the belts.
Yeah.
The feet. He had a whole bunch of figures. One had a complete Snake Eyes version too. Along with complete airtight. There was about 20 figures.
Mhm.
There was more stuff. I'm trying to think of what else there was. The only thing that he wanted to keep was the All Striker.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's fine. I have an All Striker. I don't care.
Yeah.
And back then, I had added it up, and everything was well worth over $1,000.
Right.
Even as I'm saying, I'm like,
The hydrofoil in the whale itself.
the
would be
whale
pretty
was
expensive.
only missing the vanes on the back that control the
Yeah.
flaps,
Yeah.
which I got. I bought one at a garage sale, and then when I was at Joe Fest, Aaron the Toy Enhancer gave me the other one. So now
Nice.
the whale is complete, and I'm only missing two mud flaps for the mauler. Anyway, I had Now I have 3 heavy metals. Well, when I did the Flint, the Flint classified review,
Yeah.
someone said you have the wrong legs on it.
On the Flint Classified?
No, because I was comparing them to the O-ring. So
Okay.
they pointed out that I had the wrong legs on it. I must have changed them when I was a kid.
Right.
I couldn't figure out where they were. I'm
Did you
going
give
through my
him-
book. I'm going through my book, and then finally I figured out that I had heavy metals legs on him. Crotch was different, so then I had to figure out what the crotch was.
Yeah.
Well, I had 2 heavy metals, and then I also had the new heavy metal that I had gotten in the lot that I had bought. They all had different lower legs.
Really?
I had to figure out then I had to figure out which one was the new one that
Right.
was complete. Then I had to figure out whose legs. Now, obviously, I knew one went over to Flint, or I knew on one of them they had Flint.
Right.
I forget who the other ones were, but I had to figure it all out, and I went through that book till I was able to figure it out, and I'm like, all right, now I have all complete, 3 complete heavy metals. The same thing happened with the Dreadnoughts. I did the first review of the Dreadnought,
Yeah.
and it was Torch.
And you had the wrong.
Boom, you have the wrong legs. Those are rippers, or I forget who. So now, mind you, the Dreadnoughts are all my original Dreadnoughts. So Monkey Wrench, Buzzer, Ripper, and Torch are all my original ones.
Right. So when you took them apart, you put them back together, right?
Yes, they were all wrong. It was not one, and I'm glad that it was Soda Popinski, if you know who he is.
No.
You probably see him on Instagram. He's the one who pointed it out. So I'm going through that book, and you're like, and I'm like, son of, and I'm like, but I was a kid, and somehow I was fixing the O-rings. They all look the same,
right? Because you just take them all apart and throw them all in pieces, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So when I put them together, they all look the same. So I went back and I fixed each and every single one of them. The Flint was way harder because I had to figure out whose legs they were, because they didn't tell me whose legs they were. They just said those aren't the right legs. Right. And I'm going through them all. And if someone tells you they have the wrong backpack, okay, big deal. Oh, I grabbed the wrong backpack.
Legs is a different story.
Legs and a waist.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I decided, like I was saying, like I don't need 3 maulers. I don't have the room. I actually wanted to keep the one that doesn't have guts in it. I tested my original one. It still worked perfect.
Yeah.
I put that thing on eBay. It worked. It didn't have the flaps. It didn't have the antennas. It didn't have any of that stuff. It did have, obviously, heavy metal, but it doesn't have the mic. I think that thing sold for about $130.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was not the complete one, or the almost complete one.
So I bought a second mauler, and it was, the motor didn't work at all. I was gonna buy it for to make an RC version of it. Saw it on Joburg, and I never got around to it. Yeah, so I never got around to doing it. So I was like, I'm never gonna do it. Right, I'm not gonna do it. I bought an RC car. I'm like, the fun is right there. I don't want to do the mauler, right? So what do I do with this mauler? Do I sell it? And I'm like, you know what? I got a buddy who, this is one of his dream things, right? So I was going to give it to him at Joe Fest, this past Joe Fest, but I didn't go. So I had to give it to another buddy to bring it down to him, to give it to him. And now he's happy with the mauler that he can just push around. And that makes me happy to make somebody else happy like that.
It is so much better than the Mobat.
Oh my God, it's 100 times better than a Mobat.
So much better than the Mobat.
I have both of them right up there. And the mauler just looks way better than Mobat. I do like the Mobat, but
yeah, I like it.
The mauler is just so much better.
The Mobat is, and it's not this, but it is a what was the World War II tank?
Patton? Sherman.
The Sherman tank. It is a Sherman tank compared. It's a Sherman tank compared to an Abrams. That's what the Mobat is compared to the Mauler.
They both look. I mean, the Mobat is nice. It's really nice, but the Mauler just like pops.
Does your Mobile work?
Yeah.
Mine, I can get it to run at times, but they have different. There's different battery covers.
Yeah.
Later versions and newer versions. One has like, and I can't get mine because I
Can
actually
get it
have.
on.
Do I have two of them? I think I have two of them, and I can't get either one to work.
Oh, that's
Yeah, because I acquired another one. I acquired another one like for $100. I like $100.
Yeah.
I bought this shit because I saw a tomahawk. This girl, she messaged me and she says, "Hey, are you still collecting GI Joe?" I was like, "Yeah," and she's like, "I have a friend. He wants to sell this." I said, "How much?" And I said, "How much?" I looked at the pictures, like, "How much?" And she goes, "Let me ask, $100." I go, "How good of a friend is he?" And she goes, "Well, I know him. He's why." I'm like, "Because it's worth more than $100." He just wanted to get rid of it.
Yeah.
The only thing I saw, the thing that I saw that I needed was the the joystick or the sticks for the tomahawk.
Yeah.
I was like, I just want to fucking but there was other stuff in there. There was a shell of he had a shell of Sky Striker,
Yeah.
which I printed 3D. I 3D printed seats, missiles. I just didn't have a canopy, and I sold it on eBay for like $100 and something. And I let it. And again, I put in there 3D printed missiles. I showed them off, but those shells go for over $100. Right there, I made my money back.
Yeah. No, that's two vehicles that I would like to get. I just don't have the space for them. Like I want a Tomahawk because that was one of my favorite vehicles I had as a kid, and I want to get. I just don't have anywhere to put it.
And hang it on your ceiling.
I don't want to hang it on my ceiling because I have to take it down every time. It's just not worth it. I want to play with it.
I have my original Tomahawk and my original Night Raven. And I know they're my original because I drilled a hole and put a screw at the top with the little
so you
circle
can just hook it.
So I could hang them.
Nice.
And they sit there, and they both sit there hanging in the GI Joe room. And there's a few times I've walked in like, when do they finally give? Like, when does the plastic finally give?
Well, I got my brother for Christmas. We're both into F1, Formula One racing.
Okay.
And his favorite team is Mercedes, and they have a Mercedes set. It's a huge F1 car. It's like Technic Legos, right? So I got him that for Christmas. So he built it, and he doesn't have a big place. So he's looking for a way to store it, and he was showing me these like stands and stuff, kind of like a stand like you would put a jet on, like this. And then he showed me this like one thing where it's like a picture frame, and then you just put the car on it hangs on the picture frame, and then you put a design in the background. Now I'm thinking, like I can't do it at a Tomahawk, but a Sky Striker or Night Raven, maybe I could do it like that way. I can hang it on. They put a hook on it, and just hang it from like one of the holes in it on the bottom.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people put Sky Strikers, Rattlers.
Yeah, I've seen them on the walls.
Vertical.
Yeah.
But I like that idea of like having,
because then they could put like GI Joe Sky Striker symbol on it and just hang it right there. It'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, no, I mean they, again, when someone says classified vehicles are too big, someone may have done a video on it.
Yeah.
And then I kind of ate my words because people don't seem to care right now. But I also think I think a lot of these people that want the classified vehicles, I think they want the option to buy them, but I don't think a lot of people would buy them if they're readily available.
No, I don't think
I don't think so either. Yeah, the Rattler, the Dragonfly, they did great as HasLabs because they're one and dones, right? But if they were just on pulse, people would wait until they're discounted and be like,
yeah, I mean, like if they're in a store, where are they going to put that? You look at the space, there's nowhere to put it. But I agree with you. I think that it's like HasLab. If they're going to even attempt to sell, it's just going to be an online store to sell it because I mean, none of these stores are going to carry that stuff.
Yeah, and before people say yeah, whatever. They have those mega wheels. Well, that's different. Like
Yeah.
that's a different section, you know?
This is right now like classified. I don't want to. I mean, I want to say that. I mean, it's evergreen, but it's a niche thing. It's more of a collector's thing now because I mean, like
Oh, it
I
is.
know there's kids playing with it, but I don't
It's
see a
mostly
lot of
adult.
kids playing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, there are kids because I've been in Sergeant Reds when I watched kids come in and they go right to the G.I. Joe section, or they
yeah,
ask where it's at, right?
yeah. I don't. I
But
think the only place around here, other than the store, the vintage shop I go to, they have classifieds and stuff like that. That I see any G.I. Joe's Target, and it's very little in there.
yeah, but for the most part, it's adult collectors, and that's
Yeah,
why they're at BBTS and Entertainment Earth and Amazon. You're
yeah.
ordering in Amazon. Kids aren't going on Amazon and ordering that shit. They're
No, they're
accidentally
not.
ordering other shit from their mom's phone.
I'm just looking right now. I mean, I know that people say that the plastic and stuff for the Super 7 stuff, the O-ring stuff isn't the same, but none of it's going to be the same, and none of it's going to feel like classic. I mean, I think the closest I felt, that's come to it is Delta 17, but he put a lot of time and effort into that. I mean, but you're looking at like, I want to say Delta 17 is a niche thing. It's right now it is. It's more of a
Yeah.
collector buying it. Where Super 7 is trying to put it on the market, put it out there in the stores and stuff. Because all the ones that I bought, I've got the Bat, I've got Cover Girl, I've got I don't have Cobra Commander. This is the fourth one.
Snake Eyes.
Snake Eyes. So I don't have Snake Eyes and Cobra Commander because I already have them too.
Did you get
But
the
I bought
twin?
those. I have the twins. Yeah, I have the twins. I got them through BBTS actually.
Yeah. Well, that's the only place available.
But I bought like the Bat, and I've seen that at Target, and I open up and playing with it. I'm like, it feels good enough to me. It's close enough. It's close enough to what. And now they're coming out with Fatal Fluffies. I think I'm gonna get like 4 or 5 of those.
So, okay. This is what I have to say about those. And I was really excited. Now, the only one that I've seen in the store yet is Cover Girl. Now, I do not go into Targets that much anymore because I have no reason to go in there shopping or toy hunting. Right? I
Right.
get everything that I have already. Like,
I just go in there like when if I'm going in there to get something, I'll just stop in there.
so yeah. Oh yeah. If I go in there to get something, I always
Yeah.
go to the section first. But I have not been hunting, or else I'm sure I would have found it. I
Right.
did see the Cover Girl, and once again, she has dead eyes. And
Yeah, the eyes aren't that great. Yeah.
yeah, I guess when I saw those pictures, when I saw the figures now painted, when I compared them to what Delta 17 is giving, when I compared them to what Skeletron is, the one figure that they gave, which again I talked about it, that's the closest figure that I've had that feels like opening a real American hero
Yeah.
because the
I
explosion.
agree.
Now the call sign longbow that I'm waiting for, I
Yeah,
know
me
they
too.
put a figure out. That figure uses a lot of the same Skeletron. I think it uses the same lower legs as Skeletron. It's all coming out of the same factory, so I know how
Yeah.
that one's going to feel. Operation Recall, I swear I've kind of given up that they're even coming out with their figures that I kickstarted. I know they
I'm
are,
waiting patiently for that. Yeah.
but I'm sorry, it's been almost 3 years and you're just showing me painted samples. I'm like, oh come on, I don't want to rag on you because Carson seems like a wonderful guy, and same with everyone. But really, over 2.5 years, and now you're just getting painted samples. But when I look at those, and then I go back and I look at what I saw at Joe Fest and what I've seen online of what Super 7 is doing. Again, I have not held the figures up to know the weight, but the fact that they didn't give them swivel wrists or articulated necks. Now, these are just things that
Yeah, I agree. They
doesn't
need to up
break
their
the
game a little
aesthetic.
bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be the exact, a real American hero. Because
Well,
if so, why not just do straight up?
it's mostly. I mean, for the look of it, it's going to be all Sunbow stuff. So we're going to get that cartoony look, which is fine with me. I'm cool with that. I mean, it gives a little bit of a different spin on it. But it's going to be hit or miss because I mean, I like the twins, What I don't like about the twins is the face sculpts, but I like that they're together and they're the twins and they're wearing
Yeah.
suits.
So I was all for getting, I was all for getting the twins, and then I saw their faces, and I
Yeah.
was like, and now I have not gone and saw any reviews. I only saw what BBTS put out. I'm like, they look like they're fucking like cancer patients right now.
Yeah.
Like what's
Yeah.
up with their faces? I loved that they took the original box, they put them in suits, and again, as much as I rag on Super 7, and I do, and I'm not a fan of the head guy, Brian Flynn, that made that perfectly clear. I like the fact that he said we are doing figures that have never been done before. Now, with that said, Cobra Commander is pretty close to what Cobra Commander was that we've had. This new Duke is pretty close to what, I mean, I understand there's something a little different, but it is cool they're doing the Fatal Fluffies and whatever.
I'm waiting for Satin. That's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah.
And
So I'm glad
Satin.
they're doing that. But when I look at, and again, I don't need a blonde cover girl, but I'm glad they did that. But another Snake Eyes, whatever. The bat, you can give me as many bats as you want. I think it's cool that both hands come on and off. They are interchangeable with the original bat. But I look at the gun and go, why is the gun huge?
Huge, yeah. Yeah.
You know, why? Yeah. Like, why? Like, same with Snake Eyes' Uzi. It's the same Uzi that came with theirs. Like, why is Uzi huge? Like,
I don't know why they're that big, but to me, I mean, like that is. But again, for me, it's just like the figure is the payoff. And with the bat, I'm not using that gun anyway, right? That doesn't matter to me, right? But I'm using the attachments and stuff. For me, it's just they're all gonna end up getting the XLR anyway, so it doesn't matter to me. I mean, yeah, it shouldn't be that big. It shouldn't be. But G.I. Joe guns back in the day were a bit oversized as well. But that
later on.
Yeah, that MP5 that the bat comes with, you could put that on a classified figure and it'll look normal.
And this is what it looks like. But again, my biggest thing with this is they're $20.
Yeah, the price is a little.
And yeah, so I'm looking at $20 and you're going, okay, but I'm buying classified, which have way more accessories, look way better. It is what I am collecting. But I still do collect the 3.75 or 4-inch figures. Like, I have no problem mixing all the 1/18 scale. Doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be like, yes, these are awesome. But I when you look at $20 a pop, and for who they are, okay?
Yeah.
You know, $17 or $25. They're a very small company.
Yeah.
Same with, Skeletron right now and Cosine Longbow. Again, these companies that are taking forever. I know.
I was just patiently waiting for those two to come out because.
Yeah, and I didn't go all in. I only got 4 each. I don't even remember. It's been so long. I don't even remember what I backed.
I think I think for Longbow I'm getting for Recall I'm getting 4. I think for Longbow because Hans I think I got one for Hans. I think they upped me to either 6. I think I got 6. They upped me to 6.
All right. Yeah, I got 4 of each. Again, it's been so long. It's money long gone.
Yeah.
If it comes, it comes.
Just waiting patiently for him. I'm looking. If it's an O-ring, I'm happy for it.
And so Ken says Longbow's next 4 figures should be here by Joe Fest.
Well, hopefully.
So that's over 3 years to do O-ring figures. I mean, I understand we came out of a pandemic, but we have seen so many companies, so many Kickstarters be able to have stuff produced. That's what, again, Savage Crucible. Not only Savage Crucible do a Kickstarter, deliver it, have shitty feet, redesign the feet. I even got the feet before I even got any of those other figures.
There was one line. I forget the name of it. Came out. What's the name of it? They have like a bunch of O-ring figures. What is the name of it? I had them somewhere. Oh, Strike Force.
Strike Force.
Yeah. All right. I think I got 2 figures. I got 2 figures. I ordered 2 figures. One was like he looked like that captain from the Corps, Fox. He's got the hat on and stuff. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
And then this other guy who's like an alien. So like he's got a face and you turn his head around. He's a lizard dude. I got these two guys specifically because this one guy looks like a commander and the other guy's an alien, and I'm digging that. And it's like a kind of like a boss looking aliens. Now they're cool looking figures. The problem is one dude, the commander guy's got duck feet, and the other guy can't hold his weapons. And I don't want to swap. I can swap one guy's feet out because he's got like lizard feet, but then there's some red on the boots that doesn't match with the dude's suit. I'm like, I don't know. So they kind of turned me off of the suit, but they kind of turned me off of the line. But I mean, the stuff that I see there looks really nice, but I just don't want to get it now because I had these two bad experiences with these two figures.
I think, and again, I wasn't a big fan of that Strike Force when I saw it. The one toy shop in my area, he got them. Like he backed them so he could sell them, and I just wasn't into it. And I think when you go into something that you want to try something new, but going with that scale with something that no one's ever done. Now it's one thing for Savage Crucibles. Everyone is in the 1/12 scale now. Like that's what collectors are doing. So it's kind of like, all right, we know people will go with this. We also know, hey, it will mix with your Mythic Legions if you need, or some of these other lines that we're going to get. But when it comes to, especially 3.75, the O-ring, I like it's military. And
I tried to integrate because I had a whole mess of the 4-inch anniversary stuff when I started when I stopped buying those and I started buying the AROS stuff. And I try to like, oh, how am I going to integrate these? Because, they're a lot taller. They don't look different. And they're different, so I couldn't do it. So I was like, all right, I'm putting these away. I'm not going to use them. Maybe at some point I'll go back. I'm just going to keep my AROS out. And then eventually I was like, I'm never going to use these. What am I going to do with them? Should I sell them off? And I decided, you know what? My buddy Hans, he loves these things. So I'll just ask him if he wants them, and if he wants them, he can have them. And then I gave them all to him.
See, I don't have an issue putting the 4-inch figures with the 3.5. Like that doesn't bother, and I know it bothers a lot of people, and I know it might bother some people with the height. I understand if someone's like aesthetically, they're completely different figures.
They are.
I mean, I can't say that I can't say they're more correct in their proportions because they seem to have longer legs, the 4-inch figures. But let's be honest, O-rings, there is nothing on an O-ring that I can look and be like, oh, I know someone that has a body just like that.
Exactly. But I couldn't like the way it was. And then they fit with the vehicles and all that, but it just didn't look right to me. So I was like, I'm just going to stick with this scale. And also all these O-ring lines are coming out, and all I'm thinking is I could add all this stuff to my G.I. Joe. Like I said, Delta 17 was perfect with that stuff. Perfect. So when I got these Strike Force guys, I'm like, that'd be kind of cool. This guy's gonna be like a Cobra leader. This is gonna be like a mutated Cobra, and it was just like a little heartbreaking. I mean, maybe down the line I'll revisit it again and try a couple other figures.
But it's an expensive mistake.
Yeah, it is. It's an expensive. Yeah. So what I'm doing now is I'm just waiting for these two other lines to pop out, and I even think I even got a couple of the Ninja ones that are coming out. The Hidden Forest ones.
I don't like those either.
I got a couple. I think I got like the main character and one other one because I like the way he looks. But I'm like waiting for these guys to come out before I do anything else. So I'm only strictly buying like vintage Joes and waiting for that stuff to come out. And then after that, I'll look into other stuff.
Yeah, and I think because Delta 17 is the only one we have in hand, and I think that I like with Call Sign Longbow. It's supposed to be Vietnam era. It makes sense. Yeah, and they have some really cool ass bad guys. Like I really like a lot of because I think they're really gonna fit with the Real American Hero. I'm wondering exactly how Operation Recall is, because even though they're being designed by the same people, I almost feel like they're more or
Well,
less the
they're
later version.
they're designed by fans, and
But
they're
then,
taking those designs to those guys, and they're gonna like change them up a little bit and then make them into figures.
yeah. So like the ideas from fans, but then they'll be, obviously reimagined, I would say, with the original GI Joe guys, right?
Yeah,
But they also seem like they're more or less the later versions, maybe like series 5, 6. Like that's how a lot of those figures seem that they're going to be based.
Well, some of
Other than
those,
Carson's figure, Carson's
so yeah,
figure is straight out of.
yeah, some of those figures are just like yeah, probably like late '90s. They look like
Yeah,
something that would come out like then. Yeah,
but when you look at Operation or not Delta 17, Ken, don't
that
let your
just
head get too big.
that just
You
looks
look
like a
at
continuation. Like if it just
yes.
if it kept going, yeah,
Here's another faction aside from Cobra, or that faction can be part of Cobra. Here's another sub team for GI Joe. Like
yeah,
and I like the fact, and I wish Ken would have told me before I did my first review, is that they have a couple figures that are 4-inch figures, which is cool. All right,
yeah,
you have 2 figures that are 4-inch that are O-rings.
yeah.
Just giving a little bit of different size. That's what I like about classified so much. Now, don't get me wrong, some of them may be too big. Gung Ho,
Yeah.
Roadblock. I'm looking at you guys.
Well, I think technically, like if I were doing it, like Gung Ho, I don't think would make so tall. I mean, he's a brawny guy, but
I would make
like
them that. They're way bigger than everyone
like
other than.
Roadblock, I definitely see as being a big guy, right?
But
Because
he's so much. But have you ever looked at how much bigger he is?
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Serpentor is the only one that's bigger.
the thing is like in my mind, like Roadblock, like let's just look at it this way. Before Slaughter came into the show in Sunbow, and I'm just talking about Sunbow.
Yeah.
Before he came into the show, Roadblock was the powerhouse guy. He's the big tough guy. He
See, I
was the
always
one
thought
you
of,
saw beating up like a whole bunch of
yeah.
Cobra soldiers.
Well, it was always Roadblock and Gung Ho like together.
Yeah,
For me.
yeah.
So I like the fact that they're built on the same buck. And again, yeah, they're bigger. It doesn't really bother me. It would be nice if they were maybe a little bit like around the same size as Slaughter, because they
Yeah.
did move Sergeant Slaughter down. Same with Bazooka. They're built off like the same legs, I believe, but they changed the torso. Same with
I think Bazooka for me that Bazooka figure is he's a little bit too big. I don't mean
yeah.
like tall wise, but he's too big.
For Bazooka, I never thought of, but
Yeah.
again, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. They changed it.
Yeah.
That would have been a good size for Gung Ho, I think. And
Well, even Barbecue's tall, right? So I have the Barbecue figure. He's a big tall guy too.
well, maybe because his helmet.
Oh, maybe yeah.
Maybe because of his helmet, just kind of makes him stick up because he's built off the regular buck. Well, I mean, it's a little bit different. But again, I like having different size figures. I like the fact that
That's fine too. Yeah.
that Tunnel Rat is extremely short. Now, I don't know if I'm too thrilled with what I've seen the size of Leatherneck, because I always thought of Leatherneck as being bigger. Now, I like the fact that everyone says he looks like me and he's shorter, so it works out.
Well, Leatherneck I would think is just probably like average hero height. Like a
He's
6'1",
short.
6'2".
No, he's supposed
Yeah.
to be bigger. Like he was always bigger than life. Like he was.
Yeah.
Like I always thought him as like just smaller than Gung Ho.
Hmm.
Yes, Larry Neck is your height. I
But
don't
no,
know. Everyone else seems to have the figure, but me.
But
Like
for Delta 17, I gotta hand it to Steve. Man, he really took that that long shot. He took his time with those figures. He designed them well. He did a great job, and he just wouldn't he wouldn't take no for an answer and stuff. He really did a good job on that line. It's really good, and they worked pretty hard on that stuff. So and it pays off. When I opened that up, it felt like, you can ask him, man. He was on the phone with me when I opened up my first one. I mean, this is like open up an A-Raw figure. This is what it feels like, right? It felt like a kid in the 80s.
Yeah, they were designed really nice. He spared no, in my opinion, no expense. The way that almost every single character, or maybe every single character, can carry all their weapons and gear on their person. That is huge. But to me, again, if you don't have the Skeletron figure, the O-ring one, there is nothing that felt like opening a G.I. Joe compared to that. And I think because they had the explosion, the backpacks, the weapons were all in the exact same place. The way it moved, I mean, that's the only figure that I can remember opening up and feeling like I'm fucking 8 years old again.
Yeah, those two. I got two of those. And those are the only thing I got from the Skeletron stuff was those two O-ring figures, and they were really nice. And I got them, around the same time as I got some of my Delta 17s. And again, opening all that stuff, it felt like, look, I just wanted to rip them off.
Yeah,
but I was like careful because I didn't want to wreck the card back for some reason. my next, I tell you right now, my next round of O-ring figures, I'm just ripping that shit out. I don't give a crap.
I have issues. I struggle with a lot of the stuff that when I'm opening. So when I get a figure, something that I'm not going to review, and I can just open it up, I'm like, oh, this is so nice because I don't have to do the whole intro. I don't like waiting to open my. I want to open my toys and play with them.
Right.
Like that.
Same.
These people that, and again, no offense to any of you that do this, the people that sit on the toys for, I've had these sitting over there for 3 months. I'm like, and you're gonna open them? Yeah. like you can wait till your kids go to bed. Like you can open them. Like I've seen you. You're not having sex that much.
Yeah, it's like I don't know if it's something I want to play with. Like I have some stuff that's in package.
Yeah.
But like I have like Duke and Scarlet from the what do you call it? The classified classics line. I think what it's called. When they redo them, that make them look more like the originals. These guys.
The retro line.
Yeah, the retro line. Yeah. I got these two. These two were gifted to me. I already have them, so I'm like, I'm just gonna leave them in package because they look cool.
They look good, and especially with the fact that the card isn't.
It looks like just a big A-Raw package. Yeah, like, it's cool.
I think it's too big. I wish it was a little bit smaller because they
could have been a little bit smaller. It's because of the weapons. Big. Yeah, just what they should do is just a little blister pack around the figure, right, and then everything else in a square blister pack just above them, just jammed in there.
Yeah.
And the gun could be a side of them. That's all they need to do, but they just lay everything out so you can see it.
Yeah, I don't need to see everything.
Yeah, I don't need to see it either.
You can put everything on the back since you suck into underneath file cards.
Yeah. Yeah,
you suck into a file card and your cross cell is the 3 figures of the wave. Like, why are you not putting all the retro carded figures on it? And I mean all of them. Like, who cares if you put the Mickey Mouse Cobra Commander on it? It's part of the line. Who cares?
Well, because they could downsize this big time.
Yes,
and then just have them all. Yeah,
yeah. It should be on the bottom because that's where it was. Because again, this retro card, it's supposed to represent what we had as a kid, just in the 6-inch line. And then you should have, because if you remember, a lot of the original figures, the Real American Hero figures, they still had figures from old waves. It wasn't like this is only the new ones.
Well, so I think it was just what was available, like what was to be available. Even though you had the new wave out, they still had like a previous wave out as well. So they would put it all on there. Yeah, I remember looking at the back of those cards and being like, man, I need to get that one, that one, that one, that one.
Cl- Clint Clint Jorgensen says, "I still haven't opened my Eternia, which can blow up if there is some QC issues." Dude, if you don't open your Kickstarter right away, you are, dude. I really want to think about like if you don't, if you, those people that didn't open their Sky Strikers and then they're gonna finally open them and find out that they have like two of the same rear wings or something like that, you're screwed.
What are you gonna do? They can't. They've already gone past that. They're already done.
They've given you time to do it. I saw someone the other day that had the dragonfly, and they're like, "Should I open the dragonfly or leave it in the box?" And all I'm thinking is like, why don't you just print up the picture if you're going to leave it in the box?
Right.
You can print up that. You can print that up. Hell, you can probably have it printed on cardboard, or I'm sure someone would sell you a box.
Right.
Someone
I mean,
probably sell you their HasLab box if that's what you want.
It looks so cool, like the vamp and the stinger. They look great, and then when you get all that added stuff for it from Gridiron, it looks so great. But I'm just like, it's too big for me. I don't know where to put it.
Oh, it takes us.
Right. I mean, like my literally my GI Joes, like the bulk of my Joe stuff is right over here, right? I've got on top of a bureau. I've got everything from Sergeant Slaughter's Triple T to a couple of hisses, and there's a bunch of vamps in between. I bought like the Play School vamps, and I customized them. I customized one.
I bought the police one.
Yeah,
like $10 shipped on eBay.
So I bought an extra vamp gun, and I took the tire off the back of that, and I put it in there, right? And then I got some Cobra stickers because it's blue. Put some Cobra stickers on there. Now this is a Cobra vamp, and I got the red one because there's a racer. The red one's a racer. I made out of a Crimson Guard vamp, and I put this Stinger missile launcher on the back of it, right? And then I got a bunch of like Snowcat, the Wolf, a couple others, the Thunder Machine, a couple others there, and then I have a slew of All Strikers above that, and then my Mobat, and I got a Slugger up there, and a couple other things there. And I got the Warthog as well. Found that for $100.
I want
mostly complete. It's nice. And then all my figures in between. And then because they're so big, I got a whale in my hydrofoil over here. I have a Conquest X30 and the Python X30, and a Cubby on top of each other because I know where else to put them. And I'm like, if I get any more vehicles, I don't know where to put them. Nowhere to go.
Well, you can downsize some of the Hiss vamps and All Strikers. It sounds like,
but I like them so much though. They're
I'm
so cool. They're so cool.
The sink or the washer won't drain for some reason.
You have to pull the thing out. You have to reach your hand down and pull it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna check again. Maybe I missed or something. I don't know.
It goes down. You're supposed to clean out all the lint when you're washing stuff.
That's what it is.
Dude, 18 years old. That kid.
We'll be a kid. That's true.
Oh my god. The thing won't drain. Oh my god. Was I that stupid as a kid? I hope not. Tripwire says time to buy a new house.
Yeah, it won't drain, so let's go get a new house. I like that.
So we've talked about that, but let's quickly, before we wrap it up, what are you doing on YouTube? Like, do you do anything on YouTube?
Okay, so I do have a channel, but I don't do anything because when I first came on YouTube, I thought I needed a channel in order to type in chats and stuff. So I created a channel. I wasn't aware that you can just like, create your little profile and have your little name. So that's why I have a channel. I don't do anything on the channel. I wouldn't have done anything unless my buddy Zazel asked me like, hey, do you want to do a show? I'm like, what do you mean show? Like on the channel, like come up with an idea for a show. And I was like, I don't know. I don't want to do a toy review because that's what everybody does.
Yeah.
So we just came up with, I just came up with the idea. We came up with the idea of just like randomly talking about stuff, and that's what we do. And I would have never even done any of this stuff if it hadn't been for him and Ken. It's like Ken was, I think Zazel was testing his stream for the first time, and
Okay.
I saw him go live, so I was in the chat, and I just became friends with him. And me, I think myself and Hans Chow were in the chat, and he's like, "You guys want to come on and chat with me? Or just testing this out." And just so we went on there. It was the first time I ever streamed. And then Ken, I think like a couple of days later, Ken did the same thing. I don't know. I mean, it might be reversed. It might be Ken did it first or whatever. Same thing. Me and Hans were there, and we went on with him, and we just chatted for a little while. And that was the first time I ever streamed. And ever since, we've been going on the streams and chatting with them and stuff like that. I never really thought I would ever come on here and do this kind of stuff. I'm not like, you know what I mean? This is weird.
You seem very low key. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm trying to scroll through for Zazel's channel here. So how often do you guys go live?
I think we have like 22, 23 episodes that we did all last year.
So like when have you been doing it? Like, is it consistent right now, or
we were doing it consistently for a while? We would miss like a couple weeks, and then Zazel had he had like to move and stuff like that, and
okay,
so he went on vacation and stuff. So we're kind of like on hiatus for the time being, but we're planning on coming back. Just the next question of when.
So there's a link to Zazel's channel. I'd put a link to yours, but like you said, you don't really.
I don't do anything on there, so it's like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, and you seem very low key when it comes to any type of social media. Even your Instagram. I have a link, for your Instagram, but you're very low key. Again, I know you because of Ken.
Yeah.
Ken, kind of. I would see your name, and then we ended up in a Discord together,
right.
And it's like. I knew the name, but you know what it's like when someone like you, like Ken, like, okay, I follow Ken. You have there's a few people that are associated with him, but you don't know who they are.
Yeah.
So I thought Hans was you.
You thought
I thought Gazz was Hans. I guess I thought Hans' name was Gazz. Right, because I'm not paying attention all the time, and you're not, and I would hear him talk about the different people, and then no, that's not. And I know who Hans is now because I've seen him.
Hans is a great person, great person to get to know.
Yeah, I've never talked to him. He was even at Joe Fest, and again, nothing against him. We just,
yeah, he's a good individual. Somebody that when you get to know him, you'll think of him as a good buddy because he's a good buddy.
No, yeah, and he seems because he's again he's in a lot of different chats.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen him on a bunch of different shows, a bunch of different channels and everything. It's just one of those things. It's like you've never talked to him, and we already at Joe Fest, and I know other people, but like there's no real reason for us to have chatted. Like we weren't in a group and we all started chatting or whatever. But I know who he is, and again, I see him, but I don't think he's ever been here. But I always thought I just thought his name was Gazz because you don't show your face that much, and if you're not paying attention, and his name is Hans, and it's a real short name, so
yeah. Like my like I'm not really big on like social media. Like I have all these ideas to like post stuff on my He is the best. That's right. He is the best. Right next to you, buddy. Like on my like Facebook is basically devoted to Calvin and Hobbes. I just post like a Calvin and Hobbes comic strip every day, daily.
Okay. What's up with? I meant to ask you earlier. What is up with the Calvin and Hobbes?
It's something that like I read it when I was like a kid. I remember seeing the Sunday paper. As a young adult, I remember reading it like in the early 90s. It stopped at like in 94, right? For a while, just back your mind, you get like a book or whatever. It does have killer art, that's right. But like I think since my breakup was like G.I. Joe and then the Calvin and Hobbes, I started reading it more, bought in a book, And I'd say that with GI Joe is taking me from like a dark place, you know, down in the dumps, not too happy with yourself, whatever,
Yeah.
and giving you something to focus on. And that's why like I post it in Facebook. I'm on a Reddit fan page for it and stuff like that. I've read about Bill Waterston and his career and stuff and why he did the things he did with Calvin and Hobbes. And it's like one of the comic strips that could be like a mega mover in entertainment, right? Movies, cartoons, whatever, toys and stuff. But he chose not to go down that road. Didn't sell the license to anybody. It's all his. So all it is books and comic strips, and that's it. Nothing else. So anything you see, like if you see like a stuffed animal of like Hobbes, it's all, black market stuff. It's not, it's not official stuff.
Really?
Yeah. So for me, I mean, just the gist of it is it took me from a place that I didn't want to be in, and it helped me get through some stuff with this humor. And I mean, if you look at the comic strip, if you ever read the comic strip, you're talking about it's a 6-year-old kid, right? Dealing, and it's got like, well, at the time, so you're looking at like the 80s and the 90s, but some of it can kind of speak to today's environment and social environment or whatever. Little kid like dealing with like talking about like social events and stuff from a 6-year-old point of view, but not, it's like a little older. And I mean, we all sit there and imagine we're not at work or whatever, right? When we're working, it's just something I can relate to when I was that age, maybe even a little older, dealing with. So that's why I love it so much, and I just use it as my thing because why not?
Because I was wondering, I was like, okay, because I was trying to figure out if your name had something to do with it, so that's why I meant to ask you earlier.
Yeah, you're kind of worried about it on was it on Ken's channel when I came on and just had this on.
Well,
he's like, I don't want to be talking to an avatar the whole time.
Okay, so I said from the moment I started that I will not talk to an avatar for like hours.
Yeah.
And when you came on, I was like, fuck, shit. I'm like, he really, but I'm like, I know it, because I just seen you on something. I'm like, no, I know he does. And then you're like, oh no, I had to. I'm like, okay. 20 says, why does Calvin got to pee on everything? That's the only reason why I know who he is.
Interesting story about that with them. He could have, Bill Waterston, the creator of the album Hobbes, could have sued the person that started doing that, but then he realized that if he sued him, he'd have to sue everybody that's doing anything with Calvin and Hobbes because he never sold out the lesson. So he just let him do it. He said, go ahead and do it. That's why you can see stuffed animals.
But why Calvin? Like, what made someone want?
I have no idea. No, I have no idea. I have no idea why they chose Calvin. Maybe because he's like a little bit of a rebellious kid. If you read the comics, he's always trying to like do stuff like that, but nothing like that serious. But
I feel like there's angrier people that want to piss on things.
I don't know why isn't there one of Charlie Brown doing that or Snoopy peeing on something?
Snoopy.
I mean, like, because I mean, if he had sold it, I mean, Hobbes and Calvin could be selling insurance as well.
I feel like Garfield would have pissed on things before anyone.
You think he can move enough to piss on something?
He's got to lift his
leg. Lasagna?
He's got to lift his leg. Maybe Heathcliff.
Heathcliff was badass. Yeah.
He always wanted to fight. So I always.
Why not Dennis the Menace? Right?
Because he was just a menace.
Yeah, but wouldn't he be the one peeing on something?
Yeah.
I guess Calvin's kind of like Dennis the Menace, striped shirt.
If Eddie Haskell was as a cartoon character, he would for sure. So before we wrap it up, let me ask you this: do you plan on going to Joe Fest this year?
Yeah. There's a group of us that are going to be coming to Joe Fest, and we try to make a big trip out of it. We're going to meet up.
Asking who?
Zazel for one. Adam from Go Figure. I think there might be a couple others. I think Hans Chow might, and there might be a couple other people that we're gonna meet up. And then not everybody that's gonna meet up is gonna go, but at least the 4 of us might drive. We're gonna drive down from Adam or from Canada down to Joe Fest. I think we're gonna make it stop here and there, and then big like week-long Joe Fest for us, I guess. That's the plan anyway.
Oh no, Tony, Punky is super hot now. All right.
What Punky Brewster?
Punky Brewster.
She is super hot now.
I know. She had to get breast reduction because they were so big that they were hurt. And they're still pretty fucking large.
But every time I see her, I'm like, that's Punky.
But I wouldn't be thinking that when I'm doing dirty things to her. Well, I might be, but it'd be okay because we were the same age when we were thinking about that. So where is Azo coming in? Is he?
He's in Australia, so
I know, but is he gonna fly into?
I think he's gonna fly to Canada, and then well, that's the plan anyway. I mean,
Okay,
things
so
could
fly
change.
into Canada and then drive down. Okay.
Yeah, so we're gonna drive from Canada down to Augusta.
Okay. Because I don't know, is it cheaper to fly in there or fly straight? I don't know.
When I went down,
It ain't cheap.
from
I know that.
here- Yeah, from here, I think it cost me like $400 to fly down, plus the room and then back. And
But I meant
I
for him to
wanna-
fly to Canada or to
for
fly.
him to fly.
Yeah,
Oh,
like he
I'm
just
sure
flew
it's
directly in.
well. I think it'll be a couple of layovers here and there. But-
I just can't imagine like, all right, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna fly all the way across the pond to Canada. Then I'm gonna get in a car and take a fucking road
Well,
trip.
it's gonna
That
be.
sounds awful.
Well, I mean, yeah, but Punk, we're gonna like a bunch of us are gonna road trip. I think we're gonna stop. I think we mentioned going to Kokomo Toys.
Kokomo is
which is-
awesome.
Yeah, which
Wait,
is down
wait,
in
how are
that
you
area.
gonna-
So,
Wait, so are you you must be taking time off then.
oh yeah, I'm gonna take like 2-3 weeks off.
Okay, so let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, brother.
What's that?
Kokomo is awesome.
Yeah, I've never
I've
been
been
there.
It
Yeah,
is awesome. If you can find a way to make it here to Michigan, to go to Sergeant Red's,
Sergeant
you
Rex.
will not. You will not regret it.
Well, here's the thing, right? So me and Zazel we had a show. We were talking about well, Zazel and I, not me and Zazel. We were talking about aliens in Area 51 and all that stuff. And Zazel was like, "Hey, so when I come over, we do the road trip. We should go to Area 51 in Nevada." And I'm like, "Zazel, that's on the other side of the country. We can't do that. We'll be taking a couple weeks off."
I am learning that some of these European guys, they don't realize, because we don't realize how big the U.S. is compared to their continent, and they're just
Yeah,
like,
but he lives in Australia.
I know he
which
lives in
is just about
Australia.
as big, yeah, which is just as big as the U.S. I think maybe a little bigger.
but I don't think it's as populated though.
No, I guess the outer portions of it, I
Yeah.
believe, are.
But again, we could be like, I mean, I don't know where Zazel is, but we could be like, well, let's just go to Sydney, and he's like,
yeah, it's another side.
what Sydney is? Like,
Well, I mean, in Europe, you can get around.
But-
Like me and my brother and I we just went on a trip for like a week and a couple of days. We went to Milan, Berlin, and then London. And well, obviously the flight to Milan was pretty expensive, but like flying from Milan to Berlin and flying from Berlin to like London was like under $100 for each flight.
but okay, but the reason why I said to go to Sergeant Red's is because if you're going to Kokomo,
Yeah.
if you're coming from the Boston area, or are you going up? Or
Or
to
we're gonna meet up in Canada, like I think Toronto area.
Okay, so then how are you coming down?
Well, probably just
Are you-
right south towards. Adam has a path that he went to last time. Yeah.
Actually,
Whatever highways are. Yeah.
I know that Canada is like a half hour away from me,
Yeah.
but I don't. Again, Toronto's in the middle, right?
Yeah. Toronto is more on the.
So
it's
you're
closer to
basically
me.
going to go again.
I think it's the Niagara Falls area. That's where it is.
That's what I was wondering if you're coming through Michigan,
Yeah.
because that is a huge one way to come through. But again, I don't know how you're crossing through. If you're Niagara
Yeah.
Falls, you know,
I think it's the Niagara Falls area. I could be wrong. I think it is the Niagara Falls area. or relatively near Niagara Falls. I know that Toronto is more is more on my side with Boston area. Well, Boston, Massachusetts, New
Yeah.
York.
So you'd be closer to Michigan to cut through because Kokomo is there's nothing else there.
Yeah.
And
is it Ohio? Is it Indiana? What state is that in?
it's in Indiana.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in Indiana. So
is it near the big ball of yarn or something like that?
I don't know. So I was gonna make we were going on vacation, and I'm like, hey, let's go there. And the more I looked at it, I'm like, there's nothing to do there. So we went to Chicago. We went to St. Louis.
Yeah.
It was a couple years ago, and then on the way back, we stopped at Kokomo for one day. We actually saw the Snake Eyes movie in Kokomo. Let me just tell you, there is, because it rained that night, it poured. Yeah. There is a specific smell that Kokomo
in produced. The store itself?
No, I mean Kokomo, Indiana.
Okay, so Kokomo Toys is in Kokomo, a town called Kokomo.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And it is an awesome store. I am not trying to put it down at all. It is a store. It is like if you're a toy collector, it's a store you need to go to.
Yeah,
I also say that about Sergeant Reds. I'm like, it is one of those stores that if you're a toy collector, and there's a few people that have gone there, not from Michigan. There's like, yeah, this is. It's like there's certain toy stores that are now becoming these destinations that everyone needs to eventually go to. And again, saying everyone, but you're actually closer to where I'm at than to get to Indiana. That's why I was saying to go there. But how much time is Zazo planning?
I'm not sure. I think he's coming up for like 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks. I'm not sure.
But yeah, it's Kokomo's awesome. There's nothing else there. There's a bookstore down the street. There's a record store. There's nothing else. Like
there's a place I've been dying to go to for a long time. It's I don't know if it's in Indiana or Ohio. I know the town's called Metropolis, and they got a lot of Superman stuff there.
So,
is it Metropolis, Indiana? I think it's Metropolis, Indiana.
Right? My son might remember. Hold on. Nah, he probably won't come. So when we were at Sergeant Reds, and they had Nuclear Man there, and there was
the actual actor.
Yes.
This awesome.
Illinois. Viper Scout jumped in. Illinois.
Yeah.
Metropolis, Illinois. And this girl there, she there with her husband, and her husband's he's much older, like 10, 15 years older. He's not the collector. She is. She loves Superman.
Nah, I love Superman.
And we were talking about where they met, and they said we met at Metropolis, at the Metropolis thing, because they had a whole. Every year they do a big Superman thing, and he just happened to go there. His friends wanted to go there, and he met her. She's like this huge Superman fan. That's the only reason why I know about that.
Yeah.
And this girl stopped talking.
I saw it in a show, it was like a comic book special show. Yeah. It was like Metropolis, Illinois. I'm like, what? There's actually Metropolis? And I was like, how do I not know this?
Yeah. But yeah, it's I've never been there, and I don't know how much. I'm sure there's a lot of Superman stuff there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kokomo you'll enjoy. But yeah.
That's if we go there. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the drive plans are yet.
Let's just say it's way out of the way. Way out of the way to make it to Augusta, Georgia.
Well, we gotta look at the map to see where we're gonna go. We might not even go there. We'll just drive down and have a blast while we're driving down.
Well, how much time are you taking off?
I'm probably gonna take like either 2 or 3 weeks off.
Well, again, if you come up to Michigan, if you're like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna take him up on his offer. We have a ship. I mean, there's a toy store right next to Sergeant Red's. There's a few good ones within an hour, like really good ones, and I'll fucking take you guys around and So you guys don't even have to drive around. If you guys want to come up here, like I said, if you want to spend the time, I will be more than happy to.
Just we have an image that we have for whatever vehicle we're gonna get. You remember the Muppets, the Grape Caper, the movie The Grape Caper? Remember that? Remember the Muppets bus? We keep floating that in our chat. We're like, yeah, this is gonna be us driving down. You're gonna see like hands with dragonflies sticking out of the window, and that's gonna be crazy. Hopefully, it's gonna be fun. Hopefully, don't get in too much trouble.
Clint says if you go to Kokomo, get there fast and then take it slow. And great. Now I will have that in my head as I go to sleep tonight. Thank you very much.
Goddamn Beach Boys.
It is a good song, though.
It is.
You can't be in a bad mood when you hear it. You're just like,
well, you can't really be in a bad mood to listen to any Beach Boys.
Yeah, that's true too. Other than when you're like, it's fucking cold out. I don't want to be here.
I want to be in Kokomo, drinking a drink, laying on the beach.
Well, it's been over 3 hours.
Has it really?
You go. Yeah, it's after midnight. I told you, like these things, you know, you get in this conversation and you don't realize how long it's going. And but no, I'm looking forward to it because I'll get to meet you.
It's gonna be a blast. We'll have a soda together.
A pop.
A pop.
We're from Michigan. We call it pop.
Oh, well, up here we call it soda.
I know. Everyone else calls it soda except for like.
We used to call it tonic.
Tonic?
Yeah, my stepfather's parents would be like, "Do you want a tonic?" I'm like, "What?"
3-star says a cold drink.
A cold drink.
Yeah, there's Michigan calls it pop. I think Wisconsin calls it pop. That other state that we all hate, hell, Ohio, I think they call it pop. Yeah, soft drink is like the
soft drink. That's like that's the professional term.
That's what I was gonna say. Can I have a soft drink?
I have a soft drink. Do you have any soft drinks?
Alabama.
What would you like? A tab?
Tab. Alabama, they call everything Coke.
Coke.
So they want a Mountain Dew. They ask for a Coke. What flavor?
Coke.
Mountain Dew.
Man, I was addicted to that stuff.
Yeah.
Mountain Dew is a deadly drink.
Zazel says if it's not a beer, it's not worth it. No, again, I said, again, for me, Joe Fest, it was one of the best weekends of my life. It was so much fun. I don't know if anything top. I don't know if anything could top last year because there were so many people that I finally got to meet in person. Where this year there's still going to be a lot of new people, but there's also going to be a lot of the returning people. So maybe it even outdoes that.
Well, let me just say this: when I went to Joe Fest, I said nothing will ever top that. So yeah, I bet you're gonna have a blast.
Oh no! But the reason why I'm saying that I don't know if it can top it is because I went there not have met all this many.
Yeah,
there were so many people that I was going to meet for the first time.
Yep.
We're even going next year. I don't know that I don't think there's that many new people that I could meet because of all the other people that are going to be returning. But I could be completely wrong. Like I haven't met you before. If Zazel's there, I'll get to meet Zazel. And like even like the Savage Land, he was there and he's like, I saw you, but you were always with someone, and like I don't give a shit. Like I don't think Bobby B is going now because he just announced that they are expecting another daughter in May.
Oh really? Congratulations.
So looking at May and June, I'm just gonna assume his wife's gonna be like, "You're not going."
I don't know. I'm just looking forward. I'm looking forward to it. Just having a good time over the weekend with fellow people that that we're in the same hobby together and just having a good time. Maybe singing pour some sugar on me at the what do you call it?
We did not go to the karaoke. We didn't go to the
karaoke. So we went. Let me tell you this story. So we were all sitting in there. It was like Zazel, myself, Adam, Crash, Joe Racondo. I don't think Ken was there. Hans was there. Kelly Slaughter was there. So a bunch of us just sitting at this table, round table. You know, Joe Racondo's pulling beers out of this like magical cooler. Crash has got this like aged whiskey. And we're all just sitting there having a good time. And this little girl gets up and she requests pour some sugar on me. And I think it's because they did a duet with Taylor Swift, right? I think it's because they did that song with Taylor Swift. So this little girl gets up there and she starts singing, you know, the song comes on. And we all just like look at each other. And and once she starts singing, we're all singing with her. And that's all you hear is us singing. All of us just singing. I think the whole room was singing. I felt kind of bad for her because she was like doing the song, but I think it was just like remember like just a time that it's just one of the little stories in that whole weekend that was just a freaking blast.
Yeah, I think I know for me, like for last year, there were so many different stories. So many little things happened. And are you staying at the hotel or are you staying elsewhere?
I'm not sure. I think we're all just rooming up at the hotel down the street. I think.
Okay.
I think
'Cause
Hans is in the hotel.
Yeah. Now, did you stay at the hotel last time?
I did. Yeah.
See, I can't imagine staying elsewhere because you're there till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and then you just walk. And I know there's other hotels within walking distance, but I don't want to go outside. I just want to walk. I don't even want to walk down to the hotel. You know,
I think I was up both nights. I say it's Friday night, Saturday night, up to like at least 3 a.m, just down there, down in the lobby.
I know we were there till because I got in on Friday. I think 2:30 on Friday. Saturday, we didn't go back till 3:30 in the morning. Myself, highly articulated Adam, and then Emerald Knight.
Yeah.
We were the last 3 people down there. It was like 3:30 in the morning, and we finally walked. You know, and we weren't in the same room or anything, and not even the same area. And then even the night before I drove home, I think I'm like I gotta leave. I'm like I'm going back up to bed. It was like midnight because I gotta leave. I have to drive in the morning, but I want to wake up. We all went up to breakfast, but we got upstairs, and all of a sudden we're talking, and I don't think I made it back to the room till like 2 a.m, and I'm like, oh.
I would crash, and then like I would set my alarm because I was supposed to meet him for breakfast at like 8 a.m, and I felt like I didn't even go to sleep.
No, and to me
that's
what the best thing to me was. It was like one of the best things is it's like I'm going in on Thursday, so I'll have 4 days.
Yeah.
But it's like I don't have to drive. I don't have to worry about work. And you don't have to go anywhere. You're there the whole time. And
so I think our plan this time is to get there like a day or two early and then stay like a day later so that we can extend it for a longer period of time before we go. I think that's our plan.
So GI Bro says I had to walk through Augusta at 3 a.m. Saturday night. So I'm assuming before he left, he probably did about 50 push-ups. So those arms were like nice and pumped. Probably put some baby oil on it. So as he walked through it, his arms were glistening. So nobody messed with him.
That's if anybody was even awake.
No, like I can't imagine they were, considering it's in the Bible Belt. And again, we went out, because I think the convention, I think it closed either 1 or 2 on Sunday. So we're like, let's go lunch or dinner, and everything was closed. And
I think we went. I think right after it closed on that Sunday, I think it was like 3 o'clock. Might have been 2, maybe 2 or 3 o'clock. We left Augusta. I think we actually went to the neighboring state to go get something to eat, and it was like a Waffle House.
You might have, because that's where cause South Carolina is where the promoter lives, and he's like, I like it because I'm right over the border here.
Yeah,
but we didn't even because we just walked into town, and we walked into a place like they were cleaning up. We're like, "Are you guys closed?" And they're like, "Yeah, everything closes here, but these are the few places that are open." So, what Mama Tacos? What was it? Pop was with us, and Darren was with us. I remember.
Well, I know that the town. I know that
around
the town
3:30.
really loves the fact that they're there. That they do Joe Fest there. So maybe they'll be open a little later. Some businesses might be open to make some more money. Taco
then-
Mama.
Yeah, that was actually pretty good. Yeah, it was. We were there during the Gay Pride. It was a Gay Pride week, or there was something going on. Because when we walked through there, then they were having a blast. And
I think it was like
Tony was dancing with some girls on the street as we were walking by.
Like Tony from Tony's Figs.
Tony's face.
I want to meet that dude. That dude's cool.
Tony's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Tony's a lot of fun. You'll have fun with Tony. Again, I didn't meet one person. There wasn't one person that I went, you know what? I fucking hate you.
I don't think there's anybody that I meet that I didn't want to talk to. If I know I don't like somebody, I just avoid them completely. Like there's no need for me to interact.
I told Tony before we went, I go, if you start to notice me have one word answers towards people or don't say anything, you know that I have an issue with them and I don't want to talk to them.
Okay.
And I'm like, I'm not saying that I can't fake it. I don't want to fake it. So I want to make it so like, just fucking leave me alone. Like, because I was worried about there were some people that I was a little worried that I wasn't going to get along with. So
Yeah.
you're just kind of like,
Well, when I went, I was worried because I knew there was going to be some people there that I don't follow, and I don't like. It's not a personal thing. I just don't like the way they are, and I was like, whatever I do, as I'm not going to let them ruin my weekend. I'm just going to avoid them at all possible. And to tell you the truth, once I got there, like the first person I met up with was Ken and Steve, and Swordman, I forget his actual name, but we the minute I met up with those guys, all those thoughts were gone. I just Hans Hazel and Adam and stuff, we were just having a blast.
Yeah,
that's all I was really focused on.
Ken's hard to like. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, this fucking Canadian.
Ken's a wacky dude. He's a wacky guy. I love him.
Man, when he gets drunk though.
He does.
and I look forward to seeing him drunk again this year. It's
so
only
when
like
when he gets smashed, I'm gonna try to swindle that friggin' Robotech Veritech fighter he has on him. I'm gonna swindle that out of him. Ken, I'm gonna give you a bunch of Delta 17 figures for that thing. Right? Is that a good deal?
Yeah, Ken was great. Gotta look out for him walking in the wrong restroom. Well, I'm gonna let you go because now we're at like almost 3.5 hours.
Oh Jesus, time flies.
Again, I would keep talking, but I have to go to the restroom, and I have to go to sleep because I have to work
too.
Because work is dumb. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Do you have any live streams?
Not that I know of, unless Ken's gonna go live. I might be moderating that, or as far as I know about STS to shoot this shit, we're not gonna be doing anything for a bit. He's having some internet issues where he is now, so we'll figure things out. We'll be back on soon, hopefully.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me. I look forward to meeting you at Joe Fest. I'm still on the cards to go, but again, having a family, and you never know what might come in play. But
that's true.
I'm doing my best to make sure those funds are there. I will not do a GoFundMe for it. But I'm also not against begging for super chats. Oh, wait a minute. I actually am.
Got to get this fun some way.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to get out of here. Thank you very much. And we will see you all next time. Tomorrow, if you're a channel member, Punk's Pit starting at 10 p.m. Chris, Gazz, whatever you want to call. Thank you very much.
Gazz is fun.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care.